Hello and welcome to Trails to Trails, a podcast where we play through the long-running Trails series chapter by chapter, game by game. I'm your host, Lex, and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Matt. I use he, him pronouns, and I am also your host.
And this week we're on chapter 3 of Trails in the Sky the Third. How about that?
Really smashing through them. This game, deceptive. I thought this was going to be a slow dungeon crawl, and now we keep slam-bamming through all of these chapters.
Spoiler, next week we are doing a 2 episodes for one chapter. Next week we are back to our old ways.
Oh, 2 episodes for one chapter, not 1 episode for 2 chapters. You freaked me out there for a second.
No. We're splitting the chapter in half.
Thank God, back to reality. I couldn't stomach these short Trails chapters. It just felt like some sort of ruse.
Right? I mean, there's only, I guess if we count the prologue, 9 chapters, but that's like 2 months to play a game if we kept it up. We can't beat a Trails game in 2 months on our show.
Unreasonable.
We need content. We need to drag it out. That's definitely the reason, and not the fact that next chapter's got, like, multiple moon doors.
Oh, God.
They are better than the first one.
Okay.
At least from what I remember.
It's a low and very long bar to beat.
One of the moon doors introduces a character that we're going to see a bunch of in later games.
Ooh, exciting.
I can tell you who if you want, or I can leave it as a surprise.
No, let's leave it as a surprise. I'm enjoying not really knowing who's coming.
Nice.
Especially now that they've stopped doing like a hint as they appear.
Oh yes. Oh no, this is someone who shows up in the moon door, not a party member. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But we had an interesting little chapter this week with multiple paths and color schemes.
Yes.
But before we get into that, what else have we been up to for the past 2 weeks? What you been doing, Lex? It's very aggressive. What the fuck have you been doing?
What the fuck have I been up to? I went to 2 conventions, Toronto Comic-Con.
Nice.
It's Canadian, but it's not Comic-Con. And Toronto Game Expo, which are always fun times to go to. And then, although I will say Toronto Game Expo was an accessibility nightmare this time. My sibling has a mobility aid, and it was a nightmare this time. It was really badly planned in that regards.
You hate to see it.
But I also played some games. I go through periods where I go on a binge of like deduction games, and a couple of games that I had wishlisted at the last Next Fest. That's hard to say. A few of them came out in the last like few weeks, and both of them were deduction games, and they got me spinning out. So one of them I wrote a review for actually. It's called The Rat Line. It's kind of like if you've played The Root Trees Are Dead, like that kind of thing where you're trying to go through documents to identify people on a chart.
Okay.
In this case, it's fugitive Nazis so this is a real thing historically, something called the Rat Lines, which were ways to smuggle Nazis before they faced trial out into South America mostly. That you can imagine that multiple people had an interest in making this happen, some of whom were publicly saying that no, they were very anti-Nazi. Anyway, it actually it handles the subject matter well, and it has it's not just like, oh, Nazis are easy bad guys to target because everyone agrees they're bad. Like, there's a reason in terms of what the story is about.
Yeah.
But it was quite good. It was quite engaging. It's called The Rat Lines by I'll Skip Games. My review of that in the show notes. And then I also played a few shorter games I want to shout out because they're all these smaller indie games. I mean, Rat Line's a small indie game too, but these are all like 3 hours or less. Little bite-sized pieces. I played Lost Viki Kozlovka by Yadi the Man, which took me like 75 minutes, and it's basically a Wikipedia rabbit hole simulator.
Oh, interesting.
Where you are basically get access to like a Wikipedia database about this small town in Eastern Europe where like weird disappearances happen. Basically, it's going through like clicking hyperlinks in these Wikipedia pages and going and figuring out what's happened going through the Wikipedia. If you're somebody who would get caught up like opening a million tabs on Wikipedia and like goes down rabbit holes, it's that, but you get rewarded for doing it, so it's very satisfying. I played it's really fun.
That does sound interesting.
It's on Steam. I'll check if it's on Mac, if it works on Mac. A Case of Fraud by Hesperus Games, which is also a lot like The Root Trees Are Dead. Basically, the CEO of a company, it's set in New Zealand, and the CEO of a small tech startup has gone missing, and basically you need to go through all of the documents you can find at the workplace, figure out all the employees and their relationships with each other and who had things to hide and who was planning things and whatever. It was 3 hours-ish. It was a really fun time. And then I played Utter a Name by Evil Albert, which I got in a bundle with A Case of Fraud. And that's like a Return of the Obra Dinn, but it was like an hour for me.
I was going to say that the first game sounded a bit Obra Dinn-y in terms of like filling in the manifest, but with Nazis.
These are all Obra Dinn lineage. Some of them are more directly Obra Dinn than others. Like the Routline, Lucas Pope, who made Obra Dinn, reviewed it and gave it glowing praise and stuff.
Oh, lovely.
But no, Utter a Name, it's very short. It's basically you are going through this mansion. The controls are like kind of unwieldy to get used to at first because they don't tutorialize it, but it is very simple. It's just like you don't realize, like hitting tab will bring you up to a menu page and it never tells you this, but it's a menu that lets you fast travel and also has like all of the evidence you found matched in it. And it's like, wow, how did you not tell me about this? But basically you're walking through this mansion where like 15 people have died and their ghosts are there and you have to figure out their name and who killed them in order to free their ghost. And it all happened over the course of one night. So it's very Obra Dinn inspired, but the story behind it of like how everyone is not Obra Dinn like, and there is a twist at the end that's quite fun.
Okay.
You can figure it out if you're really paying attention. You probably won't, but it's fun and it's quite short. So those are I think I'm gonna do a write up on my blog, just kind of like a roundup since they're all 3 shorter games. They're all really fun games. They're all also pretty cheap. They're all like under $10. I think some under $5 US. I don't remember US prices. I'm Canadian, but they were all a good time, and I wanted to shout them out. What about you, Matt? What have you been up to?
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, let's throw either links to your roundup or links to the games themselves in the show notes so everyone else can check them out. That's awesome.
All right.
I have been playing a handful of games too. Not a single one of them is indie.
Alas.
What have I been playing?
We're representing the spectrum of the gaming experience.
I'm here to make sure that big corporations don't get forgotten. So what did I play? Oh, I continued playing and finished Pocopia. So I've reached the end of the story in the game.
I rolled credits on it too.
Yeah.
I teared up a bit.
I will say it was a nice ending. It did not bring me to tears in the way that a lot of people in our Discord especially have been describing.
I was not expecting to, and I did not cry until it was the very end of the credits where I was like, oh, and I had a little, like, I didn't cry, I had a little tear. I tear up really easily.
It was very sweet. Like, I had a great time. I will probably continue to play it on and off. I did have the thing I assumed would happen, which is as soon as the story's gone, like, the draw to it is less strong for me. I'm not as energized by, like, creative mode stuff as other people.
Yeah, same. I'm not much of a decorator.
If it's like a creative mode where I have infinite supply of everything and I can just build at will, fantastic. But this kind of thing where it's like collecting, converting, and then building doesn't jazz me up quite as much. But I still had a great time. I hope they do DLC. There is apparently at least one note somewhere in the game that I haven't found personally that references the Sevi Islands, the extra islands they added for Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Yes.
Talking specifically about how there's all new kinds of Pokemon there. So I think if anything is a hint that there's going to be more.
Yes.
And God knows, there's probably someone's dug down to the bedrock of one of these maps and found another gate to walk through or some shit because they love to bury things in this game. Yeah, I just think Sevi Islands for DLC makes sense, considering they just re-released Fire Red and Leaf Green to kind of refresh the consciousness of it.
That would be awesome, yeah.
And then DLC. Yeah, fantastic. Anyway, Pokemon Pocopia, great game. Play it. You don't even really need to love Pokemon. It's just fun. And I love seeing all the little tips and tricks people have built to make the game better to play.
Yeah.
Like the thing about, instead of individually watering every square of grass, the thing where you can just like suck up some water and then barf it on top of a field.
Yeah.
And it spreads out and then just suck it back up again and everything's fine. Stuff like that. It feels very Ditto. B, I love that they've kind of accounted for it. What else? Oh, maybe slightly more thematically appropriate. I finished Trails Beyond the Horizon.
Yes!
So,
yes, you did!
Yeah, I sure did. I am totally caught up except for the 2 games I haven't played, which is...
Yes, but you're pretty close.
A kind of nice feeling. I wanted to get to the end of it so I could talk about the game with anybody.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is like, oh, I'm completely up to date on the series. And it's like, oh, I'm not. I still don't know what happened. There's a big blue piece of flora that I still don't understand, and I need to get there, but we'll get there. You know, at this rate, we might get there by the end of the year, or even start of next year. But yeah, so I finished the game. I've got the same kind of, ooh, what'll happen next ending as everybody else. The only thing I will say is that I feel that our guy Kevin did not get served with a full storyline. He sort of had a middle and no beginning or end.
I think the end is going to be in Horizon 2.
Yeah.
Rian has a bit of that issue too, because like it's like they both have so much less.
I didn't realize until I got to the end of the game that like it is in no way even remotely even. Like obviously Van Arkwright is the star of the show because it's technically his game, but Rian has way less and Kevin has even less than that.
Yeah, they have the same number of chapters, but Kevin's are shorter.
I had a great time with Horizon.
Once you ate your vegetables and got to the dessert.
Van is fine, but there was just so much of him compared to everybody else that I was resenting him as a result of that. What else? Oh, I think since last episode I also finished Resident Evil Requiem. I don't know if I'd finished that at that point yet.
No, I don't think you finished it. You were in the base. Or you had just gotten out of the basement, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I really smashed through the back half of that game. Very fun, very spookums. Has like 4 different genres of horror in the game over the course of it. You kind of move from like survival horror to action horror and all these different things at different moments. But I finished that and had a great time, which led me to replaying Resident Evil 2 because I wanted to spend more time with Leon again.
The original or the remake?
The remake. I can't do those tank controls.
Yeah.
Which it's like your forward, backwards, and then left and right is just pivoting.
Yeah.
It's not a control method that I played as a kid to have like that nostalgia to carry me through. So I'm just like, nah. So yeah, I've replayed Resident Evil 2, one of the 2 runs so far, because you play as both Claire and Leon in that game.
Right.
So I'm doing them the other way around to what I did the first time, which like mixes up what their game run feels like, I guess.
Nice.
But having a great time with that, man, that's such a good game. They should just make more Resident Evil 2s. I think it was good. And beyond that, I've almost finished Ease 10 Proud Nordics.
Ooh.
I mean, like the second to last chapter of that. And having a pretty good time. Oh yeah, because it was on like PlayStation Plus or something, I dipped into Revenge of the Savage Planet, which is a sequel to a game from like years ago, Journey to the Savage Planet.
I've never heard of that.
You're like running around the world, collecting stuff, upgrading your gear. It's kind of in the vein of like Astroneer or something, where you're exploring a world and finding stuff to upgrade your base.
Yeah.
It's a little less customizable, and it does feel like the writing has gotten cringier since the first game. I think it's very millennial.
We say as millennials. Like, I know exactly what you mean, but yes.
Yeah, look, we can say it.
Yes.
We can say the M word.
We can say the M word.
But yeah, it's like a little bit early 2000s humor. And they know how annoying it is because one of the first settings you get access to is a slider for how often your AI robot companion talks. And I just slid that all the way down.
All the way off.
Don't need to be hearing from you every 3 seconds. Thank you so much. So I'm just running around the world, shooting stuff. It's all very comedically animated, like kind of over the top, which I'm not sure yet if I like or not.
Fair.
It's just like I needed to bounce to something that wasn't quite so grimdark after all the Resident Evil I've been playing. And that's kind of been it for me for the past week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks. But I also played Trails in the Sky the Third. Did you?
I sure did too. We sure played a game.
Oh my god. Do you want to talk about it?
I feel like I maybe do.
Nice. Well,
let's move out!
So, as we open Chapter 3, we get another Kevin flashback, which seems to be a running theme.
It's fucking haunting at the beginning of this thing.
There's a lot of Kevin bad news updates.
It starts as a black screen with text on it. Like, we don't see an image. Glad about that. I don't want to see this. It's someone saying, I'm so sorry, Kevin. I failed as your mother, but I'm so tired. I'm so tired. At least this way, the 2 of us can. And then Kevin wakes up from a nightmare. Like, that is clearly the prelude to a murder-suicide, right? That's what it sounds like to everyone?
It definitely sounds like she's going to kill herself at the very least.
Yeah.
It's not a great solution from Mama Graham.
And then the whole 2 of us section really sounds like the 2 of us can be together in death. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Kevin's got reasons to be messed up.
Oh, poor Kevin. But it's okay. He wakes up and everything's fine.
He wakes up in the most uncomfortable looking bed I have ever seen in my goddamn life.
Yeah, it's not great. He wakes up to find Reese just standing over him here at the chapel.
He doesn't notice her at first even. He's just like talking to himself like, wow, I had this traumatic nightmare. And then realized Reese was standing over him listening.
Just dead-eyed looking in the art as well. But she's also very mean to him. Says, you're a useless loser and you always have been, or something to that effect. And it's like, oh, you've been a loser since the day I met you. I don't expect that to change anytime soon. It's like, damn, girl. You're in the priesthood, kind of.
Well, we know her sister is. We're not totally sure if she is or if she's just, like, there because her sister is. I get the impression she's, like, she gives the vibe of, like, her actions are caring and her words never are. Like, she comes and she's like, I could see you were having a nightmare, so I woke you up because I could tell that you were, like, struggling. But she says it in the meanest possible way. And then it's like, also, you're a useless loser on a wait on me. Like, she did a nice thing. Come to check on you and then wake you up from the nightmare. And then it's immediately like, I'm going to compensate by making sure you know your place.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, are you okay, you dumb bitch?
He's like, I was being a pain for you, wasn't I? And her way of saying, like, it's okay, is saying that I don't expect it to change because you've always been a pain and a loser.
Yeah. Oh, God.
She's mean. She's funny. She's also clearly older than the last flashback we saw. Both of them are, but it's clearer with Reese because we don't really see Kevin that clearly.
And we find out that it is a few years on because it's Rufina's big day. She's been accepted as a squire to the Order of the Sacraments. Is that correct?
Congregation
of the Sacraments. Yes, she's been accepted as a squire of the Gralsritter.
Mm-hmm.
We find her praying in the chapel before she leaves. They're like, why are you praying? You're about to go to the big church. And she's like, yeah, but I won't be able to log any prayers here for a while, so I want to do one for the road.
Yeah. It's like, I can't get my dailies for a few days, so I need to...
She also mentions that at this point, Kevin's been at the church with them for 5 years now, so it's definitely a good ways on from their last flashback in the alley. And his attitude is like a complete 180. He's very kind. He's kind of meeker. He's not calling everyone around him slurs like he was.
Yeah. He clearly, like, this is his family at this point.
Yeah. He thinks of them as his sisters or something equivalent. But things are about to get shaken up because now that she's a squire, Rufina's leaving for Arteria to train or whatever. And I don't know if we ever had it clarified. Where are they currently? If they're not at Arteria, where are they?
We don't know yet.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she's getting ready to leave for Arteria. She mentions she's going to buy some Quincy Bell chocolate on the way. And in the art, Kevin kind of blushes a little bit at that, which is kind of cute.
Yeah.
Because he's got some pretty strong memories of that chocolate at this point, I imagine. I hope that wasn't how she continued to share chocolate with him for the rest of his time there.
I really hope not. She was like, I have to baby bird feed you.
Mama bird to baby bird. Yeah, maybe he's worried about that because he does ask, like, well, hey, if you're so happy us being a family here together and it's such a good life, why become a squire and leave us? Why leave me behind? How will I ever eat chocolate again?
Yeah.
And she says, well, I have the aptitude for it. And that's why she's going to go do it.
It sounds like she's been recruited.
It almost implies that maybe she's not into it. Like, well, it's my duty. Maybe it's not the thing I want to do, but I'm going to do it because it's good for the church.
It's somewhere between that or more of a, like, I'm not sold on it yet, but, like, I've been told that I'm good at it and I can do good to this. Like, there is an element of, even though she's, like, an adult, there is an element of, like, you know, you're, like, going to college and it's like, you could do great things if you come join us, like, as a job recruiter. And you're like, okay, I want to do great things, but you're not really sure what that totally means.
With that, the dream kind of wraps up. The other two are going to go off and do their cleaning, and then the memory just kind of fades away, and we get our title card.
The other two, thankfully, being Kevin and Reese. It's not like the girls have to go do cleaning, thankfully. It's like the kid's got to clean because Rufina's busy.
Kid's got to clean.
I like that the boy has to clean too. It's not a Josette does all the laundry for the Capo Sky Bandit situation, thankfully.
But yeah, then we fade to our Chapter 3 title, Golden Road, Silver Road.
Yeah.
Which, sure.
That's going to be very literal, as it turns out.
Yeah. Sometimes it just says exactly what's about to happen. Just wait for next chapter. Chapter 4, Dungeon Crawler.
Oh boy, is it ever. There's a lot of dungeon next chapter.
But after the title card, we find ourselves back at the Hermit's Garden, where we're hatching ourselves what turns out to be 2 lights, 1 big light and 1 small light. I love this.
I love that. I like that Julia's the one, like, doing the orb, too. Like, she's clearly been safeguarding it since they got it.
Yeah, no one is taking that sealing stone off her once they retrieve it. She would like bark and snap at them.
Bitch, no. Yeah.
But yeah, the light rises up from it and then splits into two, a larger and smaller light.
Yes.
And they're like, oh my god, two people in a sealing stone? We got like a double-yolk egg? But
Twins.
very cutely turns out that it's because Sieg gets her own light. His own light? What gender is Sieg? I don't remember.
I think they've used male pronouns for Sieg.
Okay. Sieg gets his own light. Finally, a man is recognized. And along with Princess Claudia, Crown Princess Claudia, it's very important that we give the full title, who shows up in her cool princess fit that I like, as opposed to being stuck in her school uniform for 2 games.
Sorry, I just discovered. I was just Googling to check Sieg's pronouns, and apparently in the first one, Cold Steel 4 first came out, they vocalized him as Zeke, like Zeke, and then immediately patched it to Sieg.
Oh my god, Zeke?
Zeke. That's the guy from High School Musical who makes creme brulee.
You know, I bet Zeke and Zayn were the best of friends.
Exactly. Oh god. But yeah, we get Sieg. I mean, it makes sense because Chloe can't do her craft, so she doesn't have Sieg. But also, I love that narratively, they like, it's like, yes, Sieg gets into Sealing Stone.
I love that. Imagine if he just had like a slightly smaller sealing stone sitting next to hers.
It was like an attached car on like a motorbike, like sidecar situation.
Sidecar style, yeah.
Sidecar stone, yeah.
Oh, what a cutie. After we hatch the lights, you know, we catch Chloe up on everything that's happened. I'm very appreciative that we don't have to watch this cutscene every time.
Thank God, yeah.
That they just like, and then we update them. I also appreciate that as soon as she realizes Joshua's there, she starts blushing.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, it's Joshua, my lost love.
We also get some cosmology for Zemuria.
Yeah.
Zemuria is made up of planes, and the top plane is the sky, where the goddess lives. The bottom is Gehenna, where sinners are judged, but there's a bunch of planes in between there, and we're one of them, but there's a bunch of planes in between, which is kind of cool. Like, it's not just like there's heaven, hell, and earth. Like, there's a bunch of planes in between.
It's very kind of D&D in that sense. The idea of the material plane, the astral plane, all these like kind of discs layered on top of each other.
It's straight out of Kabbalah Judaism. And Gnosticism has that too. But I think D&D probably gets it from Kabbalah, honestly. Yeah,
and they kind of note that even though these spaces they're moving through aren't like physically connected, they're kind of abstract, it does kind of give them the sense that they're going further down each time.
Yeah.
And I love that Vander, the eternal optimist, is like, oh, so does that mean that the further down we go, the less blessings of the goddess will be able to reach us? And everyone else is just like, damn, dude, vibe killer. Come on now.
I wonder if that's a literal concern in terms of like, if a few of our party members are like, Reese has some of her things are like, she's like, goddess, give me power, and then does a thing. Chloe has one that's like a craft that's like, goddess, do this.
Yeah, Lichcrease or something.
Yeah, they're like, goddess, like, I wonder if there's a real concern that like, hey, if we get too far down, will our crafts that invoke the goddess stop working? But I like the idea that like, if you get literal miracles, like magic that's attributed to the goddess, I don't know where if it comes for her or not for real, but attributed to that, then I guess it's logical. It's like, if we get too far from the goddess, like, will our signal work? Will we get reception?
Yeah. Will our like religious wrenches go out of range?
When I was a little kid, my imaginary friend was the Virgin Mary. I was not raised religious, by the way. I read a kid's Bible and, like, got really into this for a second. My parents thought this was weird. They were a little afraid that, like, I'd be recruited into a cult as a teenager. This is when I was, like, 3 or 4. And I'd be like, I need to be excused from dinner to go out to my room because Mary can hear me better there. It's closer to heaven. I was like, I thought I had better reception in my room with heaven.
Oh, my
Mary.
God. Oh, wow.
That's some Lex lore for you. But I think I somehow understood self-heard reception and connected that to the children's Bible I picked up at my cousin's house.
Wow, that was a real left turn. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like I know you better now.
I'm not even baptized. Like, that's how that's how it came from me. I want to emphasize, my parents were not the source of this.
Oh my God.
They're just of an age where everyone went to church.
Yeah.
But, like, they were not church people. My overactive imagination, access to a children's Bible somewhere, and a vague understanding of how, like, cell reception works. I was like, AOL dial-up will work better for heaven in my bedroom.
Oh my God. Wow.
So that's what's happening here.
Yes.
I'm actually a prophet, and I was predicting what was going to happen in Trails here.
Exactly. The Trails prophet. But yes, once Vander gives us his downer idea that maybe we're going to lose power the further we go, Tita also mentions, like, and who knows, maybe the path will fork at some point.
Speaking of prophets.
Tita the prophet.
Exactly.
So at this point, they kind of release you as like, okay, let's go tackle the next, not stratum, the next plane. So yeah, we're kind of released to go tackle the next one. I did a quick wander around.
And Reese is like, maybe we should check out some doors.
Yeah, she reminded me of that, and then I completely didn't. Because, little peek behind the curtain, we are doing Star Door 3 this week. I forgot, and got to the end of the chapter without being able to do it, because the chapter just ends when you do the dungeon bit. Mm-hmm. And I had to start playing the next chapter just far enough to be able to go to the door and watch it.
Alas.
But before the door, I did walk around the garden itself. The only thing I wanted to call out was that I saw, like, now that we have enough party members, anyone who's not in the party is sitting in that big table area next to the healing water.
Yes. It's very convenient that they're all there.
Yeah, although I did explore every other part of the garden looking for them before that, and I was like, damn, are they just not hanging out? That sucks. But yeah, they have different dialogue lines depending on who's off at the moment. And I saw a really cute conversation between Chloe and Gisette, if you have both of them out of the party at the time.
Oh, I saw that too, but my screenshot's not there.
Yeah, they're just chatting. They sort of talk here about how Chloe ended up in a ceiling stone. They didn't really cover it in the cutscene. She's just like, yeah, like I was at the castle, I saw a bright light, and then I was here. And between the two of them, they figure out, oh, so you probably saw the bright light that was happening at the docks when the cube activated, and then got affected by that. So it's like, okay, great. Josette's kind of really like awkwardly talking because she's kind of clued in. I think if you have Chloe in the party rather than in reserves, and you talk to her, she's like, so Claudia is the princess? She's a princess? Oh, geez, she's really nervous.
Her grandmother pardoned me.
Yeah, and so like, Claudia's worrying a little bit. She's like, I'm concerned for the others. Like, I don't know what's happening. And Josette's like, well, don't worry. Like, we've got an infinite supply of food and water. We're not going to run out. And I'm going to take care of the cooking. So on that front, at least you're okay.
Oh, yeah.
Chloe is just like, oh, that's really nice. But I would actually really like it if we could cook together. Like, I'm decently skilled, and it'd make me feel like I'm contributing. And just, yeah, like, I want to be collaborating rather than just being taken care of.
It's sweet.
And the Gisette's line is, she's like, yeah, let's cook together. That's actually great. Let's do that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's just like reevaluating this like princess in her head as she goes. She's just like, should I be mad at you because you're nobility and I lost mine? Should I be mad at you because you're friends with Estelle? And you represent power, but then actually you're just like the nicest girl ever, and you don't care about my status, and now it's like, can we be friends? And I was like, that's such a nice little character moment. That is what I want from these garden visits. I want to see the party members interacting and building on what we know about them, on top of like the doors doing that.
Like that we've got multiple anime girls who are not like comedically bad cooks here.
Yes.
Decent at cooking anime girls. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, they really break that trope even in later games where everyone can cook. There's just some dishes that everyone sucks at making.
Yeah, everyone can cook something.
Yeah, I can cook pancakes. I cannot make a creme brulee.
Yeah. And some people seem to enjoy it more than others, but everyone can't. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, everyone is capable of feeding themselves. They make it extremely clear that everyone can cook at least some dish well.
We're not doing that one. That was the only real thing of note I found around the garden. They also do add a bunch of Liberl news articles to the library at this point.
Mine did not show up. I looked. They weren't there.
It was in the area, you know how there's the one to the southeast where it ends in just like a bench with nothing? It's like you have to go downstairs past the library bit. It was like down at the bottom of that.
Oh, maybe. I'll go look again.
Conversely, I could not find Carnelia.
Oh, okay. So we've both found different libraries.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening. There's 2 different library sections. All right, I'll go look in the other library. I want to read them all because I don't have the achievement for reading every book.
I'm glad I don't have to worry about that. But like they did the update saying, hey, Liberl News is available. So I was like, oh yeah, I never went looking for Carnelia. So I searched the entire place. I swear I did not find Carnelia anywhere. I probably just walked past it accidentally.
I think there's 2 sections. I think there's 2 library sections.
Because I just assumed they would all be back at that area that we started at, because that was the most, like, library feeling area.
Oh, that's where Cornelia was for me, down in there.
Oh, I must have just missed it.
But I searched for Liberl News. There must be multiple, like, another spot that I'm missing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
We'll have to investigate. If somebody knows what the Library of Confusion is, feel free to reach out and let us know.
Yeah, just Trails, just make it one interaction point that has everything, please. Please, you guys. Just like a library terminal, please. No one else really has anything huge to say at this point, but I am going to have to remind myself to A, check in with everyone each chapter, and B, cycle all the party out so that I can see everyone.
I think Joshua and Chloe had, like, a little chat together if you had both of them sitting next to each other.
Yes. You sort of weirdly, you get both halves of the conversation only by talking to each of them.
Yeah.
So if you talk to Chloe, she's like, oh, so if you were with her, does that mean... And then if you talk to Joshua separately, he's like, yes, I believe she'll probably be here too, in reference to Estelle. I don't know if they specifically say her name or not, but it's very clear that's who they're talking about.
Yeah, because who else is Joshua with?
They just want to find the third member of their triad. That's all they need.
Exactly.
If they would just... If the Star Door had just ended with them in a throuple, everything would have been fine. Can you imagine if we had the king and queen and other queen of LeBeau?
We get so close to that in the Star Door. It's wild.
Good job. Keep it up.
So at this point, what I actually did was I went and played through the Golden Road, followed by the Silver Road, and then the chapter ended. But what we're gonna do is now we're gonna go back and talk about Star Door 3, which is the one we found during last chapter, where I don't have the exact description in front of me, but it was basically like, show me the yellow-eyed boy and the royal chick.
Pretty much.
And you present them to this door, which was the one... Oh yeah, it was at the top of the gardens in the fake Grancel Castle.
Yeah.
Where obviously the ones in like Jade Corridor and stuff don't give us any idea of where they're going to be. It seems like when we have like a real life location and the door is there, it's going to be focused there, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So far, that is what it looks like.
So yes, we begin Star Door 3, The Banquet.
Breaking news! All of, like, just text on a black screen. Yeah, but we got a special issue of the Liberl News to start us. The Flying City falls, Liberl is safe once more. Glory to the young bracers who saved us all from crisis. None of this is in the article. I don't know where it's written.
Yeah.
Unless it's the cover and then it's like, see more on X page and they redacted that.
The bit where it's like, glory to the heroes. That is not very newspaper language.
But we get, Dorothy managed to, from the RSA, take a great photo of right when the collapse started, because we've got that. But basically, this is clearly the story right after credits rolled last game.
Yeah.
And it's like, all of us have seen this shit in the sky. It fucking collapsed, like, the same day. What was that about? They cover a bit of what we know, like, yeah, everyone was wondering if that was, like, a new weapon from the Liberl army, but by the fact that it collapsed, really, hopefully it isn't, or that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
They also said a 2-meter high tsunami was caused.
Yeah, this bit made me laugh out loud. They're talking about, yes, like when the when the Liberarch crashed into Valeria Lake, it caused a tidal wave, which was something we were talking about like a few episodes ago. Like, what was the coastal effect of dropping a city into a lake? And it turns out it was a 2-meter tall tsunami. I'm pretty sure 2 meters tall doesn't count as a tsunami.
No, it's 10 meters. A tsunami is 10 meters to something else. I looked this up. The water level in Valeria Lake must be so low. If that big of a thing only caused I mean, I guess it didn't all fall at once. So if you were like, there wasn't a tidal wave or anything, it was just a bunch of flooding because, like, it wasn't all falling at once. It was like the displacement wasn't immediate enough to cause a big thing. But the fact that they're like, the only damage was that some fishermen got splashed.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's like, yes, the only consequence of this massive disaster was some wet anglers.
Bigger than any cities that exist in Liberl. A major city, fell into a lake. And some people got their face wet.
A city so big that they had to invent the world's worst monorail.
Exactly.
And fell into a lake. And yeah, like, Valeria Lakefront had the inn that was 4 meters away from the shore.
Yeah.
So even if it fell into chunks and scattered all over the place, that's still a whole city's worth of shit falling in the lake.
A number of unfortunate fishermen who were unable to escape in time, getting covered in water. Like, what is happening? Unfortunate fishermen who couldn't escape in time. I'm like, oh, there were casualties. No.
They were the damp ones. I loved that caption. I just have a note, like, along with all the actual useful notes, there's just one here that says, just unfortunate fishermen. Because what a phrase.
A picture of, like, some of the fishing guild guys. I think it's, like, Fisher, the Baron Fisher, whatever, and, like, Lloyd the fisher and another guy standing there fishing on the dock. Unfortunate fishermen. I love the idea that they got a picture of them right before they all got splashed with water.
Yeah. They are all unfortunate fishermen because they also have to use the second chapter fishing minigame to fish.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You know my feelings about that.
Yeah.
But after this big story where they break down a lot more than I thought they would to the general public about what happened.
Yeah.
We kind of cut to a shot of the front of the castle where Niall and Dorothy are on their way in to the big banquet that's being held, according to the news flash. They're like, oh yeah, we're having a banquet to celebrate that the only thing that happened was some wet anglers, and now everyone's invited. Except for the wet anglers. They didn't do shit.
Also, there are hints that there was more structural damage. And, like, yes, part of that might have been due to all the shit that happened before the Oriole fell, but, like, throughout the rest, they're like, we've been running, like, they keep mentioning, like, everyone had to fucking run around all over the place, like, doing a lot of work because people have been fucked up.
Yeah, they don't really go into specifics, but yeah, like, they're talking about how, like, the army's been spread out to help, and all the braces have been running back and forth all over the place, but if it was just splashing, I mean, it's not like the orbital shutdown broke the orbments, it just turned them off. So
yeah.
I guess it's mostly just getting things up to speed. Maybe like they're requisitioning the army airships to help like move like product back and forth, like fresh food and stuff like that to kind of catch everyone up.
True.
Because, you know, in a more serious version of this, like that kind of lockdown on transport infrastructure would mean that some areas would be starving.
Yes, that's true.
We don't go that far in Trails in the Sky the Third, but the implication is like, yeah, we're not going to like, specify, oh no, Bose was absolutely devastated and smashed to the ground, but
that happened with the dragon already. That would have been a little overkill if they have twice.
Yeah.
It is interesting that they kind of end, I mean, so they end on a note of, like, let's talk a little bit about, without naming their names, the, like, bracers who, like, saved us. But before that, there's a little meditation on, like, this really, like, is a chilling reminder of, like, how we're completely dependent on orbments, and we take a lot of pride in how technologically advanced we are.
Yeah,
but maybe we need to, like, we need to have backup systems in place. We've never had that, which is interesting to think about because we have, obviously, if a prolonged blackout is disastrous, but also that's such a privileged thing talking because you have places like Puerto Rico where they have blackouts constantly, because they are getting fucked over constantly. Yeah,
like rolling brownouts type thing, yeah.
But as bad as they are, like, we have backup generators, we have concepts of this, we have, like, people to store non-perishables for emergencies. A lot of people who live in like disaster-prone areas where there's hurricanes a lot, or generally have like water bottles in like a storage like pit somewhere just in case, that kind of thing. So, but this is a world where they've never once had any kind of power outage, so they've never thought, as soon as you replaced whatever you had before with an orbital version of it,
everything's gone. Yeah,
no idea of a backup. Not just in your house, but your whole town has no backups. Your whole city has no backup.
Yeah, I mean, they were living in a world where everything's powered by magic rocks that just have an infinite energy source we don't understand.
Yeah.
So they just never made preparations for what if it stopped, because that had never been a thing. I mean, me personally, being a realist/pessimist, I would have prepared for the worst anyway. But hey, LeBeur's all about charging forward with technology, and now we're like, I guess maybe we shouldn't rely on orbments so exclusively. Like, it's like, hey, maybe we should be cautious about how much we use this stuff because, again, we don't have a fucking clue how it works.
It's interesting too that forward, it's gonna kind of be hinted at in the coming scene that like LeBeurl, like as a matter of policy, is gonna start trying to look into like what backups can we have, what like fallback measures can we have to our over-reliance on orbments, like so that if there's ever some kind of disaster again, it doesn't take a miracle to get people through.
Yeah, it would be nice to be a little bit more prepared just in case,
so that people can like eat,
sleep, travel, live, survive.
Yeah.
But we're not worrying about that for now. For now, we're having a banquet to celebrate how good we did at fixing it all.
Yes, and some people are late. Niall.
Yes.
Niall is just shouting at Dorothy.
Yes.
And turns out Dorothy is so excited for the banquet that it's been over 30 hours since she's eaten. Like, that's not how stomachs work. You don't actually have more space in your stomach because you've gone longer without eating. You'll get full at the same amount of time. They don't grow from that.
If anything, your stomach will have shrunk a little bit from not being fed for 30 hours. She's...
You'll feel horrifically hungry, but you won't fit more food in. Like, come on.
Yeah, you'll be desperately tired and dragging your feet like Dorothy, who's collapses in the road saying like, I'm so hungry, I need to be fed.
Mm-hmm.
Niall eventually just says, I'm not giving you a piggyback, but I am going to grab you by the lapel and drag you in. And I love the little unvoiced moment as he's sort of dragging her across the screen. She's like dragging. He's got like the grumbly, angry thing over his head.
Yeah.
And she's just like, oh, this actually isn't that bad. And then as she gets dragged off the side of the screen, you see like a little heart bubble pop up over her.
I love that.
And it's just like, oh, poor Niall. But they rush in midway through Chloe giving a speech to the banquet.
They just interrupt it and don't seem to realize it.
Yeah, talking very loudly. Alicia sort of opens it up and says like, hey, thanks everyone for being here. You all helped with protecting the country and we wanted to say thank you. Here's my granddaughter to like thank you officially. And she's just like, yay, you guys saved the country. We appreciate you all. This is just for you. Doonan pops up from the back and he's like, I know we've all got a lot of worries. Everyone else has got a lot of worries. He's got none. But for tonight, I want you to eat until you barf and drink until you puke. Everyone have a good time. Let's go full bacchanal on this shit.
Exactly.
At this point, like Niall and Dorothy come in and he's like, Dorothy, hurry up. And she's like, I'm so hungry. Can I have food? And he's like, no, take photos first.
He's like, take pictures.
Midway through Chloe's speech.
And they walk on right next to them too, like on the the upper part of the stairs that they're using as like a stage to address people. Like it's like walking on stage in the middle of a speech and like having a private conversation at the top of your lungs. I thought Niall was a little more socially aware than this.
And then they start taking photos with full flash to the point that even Chloe's just like, anyway, banquet, good banquet, have fun.
And then we cut over to, we like pan over people and we get to Estelle and Joshua. It's nice to see Estelle again. Just seeing Estelle again makes me smile, you know?
I know, I was so excited. I was also surprised because like the requirement was Joshua and Chloe, but Estelle's here, so obviously Estelle's the most important. So
yeah, obviously.
Why wasn't she the requirement? But they're just having a little chat. Estelle mentions how she's jealous of Chloe being able to so effortlessly look beautiful and dainty in a dress.
And, like, make a speech confidently and all that. Josh was like, well, I'm surprised you say that you want to wear a dress, you're not girly, or something like that. And so I was like, I'm allowed to want to wear a dress if I want to.
Yeah, he just kind of, like, stares at her for a second, and she's like, what are you staring at me for? What are you thinking? And he's like, you're not girly. It's always a surprise when you want to be. She's like, hey, shut up. I can be girly. I can wear a dress. I can be girl. Shut up.
I like that this is consistent with one of the first things she ever told us in the prologue of FC, where she's like, I like pretty dresses. It's just none of my hobbies are convenient for pretty dresses.
Compatible, yeah.
Like, that's basically, she told Gasties that, like, I was like, I was about to say 5-year-old. She was 11. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, I like pretty dresses. There's just absolutely nothing I do that wouldn't get destroyed by them.
Yeah.
That's why she likes strigas. It's the only fashion thing that she can be into that can also put up with all of her hobbies.
I like how open and sort of emotive Joshua is now. Because he sort of like calls it like, you know, I always think of you as brave and capable, but girl is surprised, and it's always nice to learn more about you, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And she's just like, still very nervous about her boyfriend liking her, which is cute. She is like 16, 17.
Yeah. Also, Joshua is, as I'm sure Matt's thrilled about, wearing his big dramatic scarf.
Oh, I'm so happy to see it again.
He had not changed his outfit by this point in the timeline. He's still wearing his big fuck ass scarf and his little tank top.
See, I think what has happened here is both of them got taken for a new fit by Shara, but with Estelle, she did it sober.
Yeah.
And with Joshua, she's like, it'd be very funny if you wear this crop jacket. And he didn't know it was a joke, and then he wore it, or some version of it, for the rest of the fucking series.
I mean, it could be that Cher was like, I would totally wear this crop jacket, and she liked it, and she just gave it to Joshua.
Joshua, wear this, it'll accentuate your breasts.
Yeah.
But having been slightly derailed by Joshua being so nice to her, Estelle's like, oh my god, look at the banquet, there's so much food, I'm gonna go get it, you wait here. And I love that she's like, in the same way that you would like have someone hold your table at a big event, she's like, you stay here, hold our spot, I'm gonna go get food. It's like,
you're the guest of honor.
It's a banquet and you're invited guests. Yeah, I'm pretty sure your names are on the placard.
Also, you're friends with everyone here.
Yeah, literally. You're like besties with the queen.
Yeah, everybody would like kill their boyfriend to let you sit next to them at the table. You're Estelle Bright. You are the most
Yeah.
important person in any room you're ever in. This continues. Anytime she shows up for the rest of the series, we're gonna be like, it's Estelle! Who cares about the rest of the cast?
Yeah, I'm so excited to see her again in later games and feel that.
Yeah. She's the best. But yeah, but she's like, no, we have to hold this spot.
And it's funny that then at that point, Joshua's immediately like, well, this is a good opportunity to leave the table and go talk to everybody.
Yeah.
No, he decides to go on a gratitude tour, basically. He's going to do a round of the party and say hello to everyone, thank them for whatever they did for him or them. And it's a real mixed bag. Like, literally everyone is here. You've got all of the braces, all of the party, a bunch of, like, you know, government official type people, army folks. The Capuas are here.
Yeah.
So obviously this is like, they're talking about this only being like a few weeks after the disaster that they held this banquet. So they've already been pardoned. And not just that, they're like in with the queen now.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny because they're also at like the foremost table when the speech is being given. They're right up the front. So they are like guests of honor.
So that you can keep an eye on them.
Oh, maybe that, yeah.
This sort of setup is a thing where you're like at some sort of party where like all the cast members you want to talk to are all in the same place and you just have like time. You're just like, your next task is just go walk and talk around to everybody here.
Yeah. But
it's all characters you care about. This is like a thing that will recur in Trails and it's awesome every time.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's so fun every time. It's wild that that's fun gameplay because it's just walk around and talk to a bunch of NPCs.
But it's exactly what I want from the Hermit's Garden. It's moments of additional character growth. It's not just you know, walk up to the fighter go and says, I like to fight. It's a bit more. And it's the kind of thing you typically get in like the epilogue coda of an RPG when you're sort of wrapping up right before the end credits. But yeah, it's nice to be able to go around and check in with everyone. It's
especially nice because we've had the party, but like characters have been so like carefully like rationed out to us so far in this game, and then everybody's here.
Yeah.
Everyone we could want to talk to, unless they're, I guess, a society member. Like everyone is here. After it's been like you get one character, you're only allowed to see this one person. At a time. It's not like you're seeing people as NPCs. It's not like you're running into Annalise and like Bracer, like a receptionist and whatever. Like you never get anyone, and then like everyone you love is here. Not everyone. Killick's not here, but you know.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, the standout is Estelle's fight with Josette in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, because like Joshua's like, hey, I think I'm gonna go around and talk to everyone while Estelle's busy. And then he's like, what is she up to? And they just sort of pan over to the buffet table where you see, Estelle and Josette at each other's throats while people start to crowd around looking worried. And Josh is like, well, she seems to have it under control, so I'm going to go do something else.
She'll be busy for a while.
Yeah.
It's cute that we see Tita and I get planning for where we're at in the orbital gear development Moondor, and that like planning like you're gonna come visit for dinner or whatever. Seeing Alan Richards really interesting. Yes,
that was actually the first ones that I found because I went off to the sides first and I was gonna like work my way in. So the first people I found was Alan Richards sitting at a table by himself with Amalthea sitting at a distance under a tree nearby.
He's in front of an empty glass of wine. I want that to be clear. There's another glass on the table that's full, but the one right in front of him is completely empty.
He's been drinking.
He's in his feelings and he's drinking.
So I, of course, spoke to Amalthea first because I want to know what she had to say. And she's basically sitting off to the side. Joshua's like, hey, thank you for your help at the end of the last game. It really came in clutch. Thank you so much. And she's like, bitch, fuck off. I only did it for bail.
For Richard's bail, not for mine.
Yeah.
She's still herself. I would not have helped. What'd she say? She calls us worthless Drex, who she would not have helped except for it helped Richard.
It's like, well, thank you anyway, still. Like, you still helped, so thanks. And she's just like, go away. Leave me alone.
Joshua's like, can't take a thank you, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if it's that or if she just really hates you, Joshua.
Yeah, I don't think we're her favorite.
I think she holds a grudge. Richard doesn't seem to hold a grudge. I think she holds a grudge.
Yeah, Richard seems fine. He's like, yeah, I got pardoned also, so like I'm good too, which is a very quick turnaround for him especially.
He does not feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like this is so interesting after the development we saw from him in SC that he's like, I feel really bad about being pardoned. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I feel like what I did is getting swept under the rug at a time when the nation needs accountability, and it bothers me. And I'm not going to say to the queen, like, I reject your offer of a pardon. I'm not going to say that, but I feel really fucked up about it. And I have an empty glass of wine in front of me, so I may be stewing in that a little more than you think.
But it sounds like he's turning it in the right direction.
He's had talk therapy with Cassius for the last year, which we kind of knew was happening. My interpretation based on what we saw last year and what we talked about with Autumn when they were on, that Alan Bright's real skill and crime in the same way is his ability to radicalize youth.
Yes.
That he used. Like, yes, he planned a coup, but he radicalized young people and manipulated young people and led them down this path with him and ruined their futures. And I kind of see this, even the fact that Kanone's here and has not done the same internal work and come to the same place as Richard, I feel like that's a representation of the guilt he feels that one of the youth who he radicalized is standing there just as radicalized as ever.
Yeah.
Has not been de-radicalized, is not whatever, and he's got her standing, like, over his shoulder, basically. And he's like, yeah, I don't feel good about being pardoned. I think I did some bad shit.
He's finally coming to terms with the fact that he was responsible for inventing the Mano quartz. And then in-universe, Louis Theroux came to them, which I guess is Dorothy and Niall writing that newspaper article, and said, hey, everything you do is dog shit. And he's like, hey, yeah, actually, that is true. Which is a much better outcome than the Manosphere documentary, let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that he's taking the right tack. He's like, I don't feel like I deserve this pardon, but I'm going to work to feel like I've earned it. So I'm going to keep giving back.
It's amazing. Like, it's a testament to the writing of these games that we're saying this about Alan. Because, like, at the end of FC, you're like, this guy is the worst person.
Trash, yeah.
Like, he's not, there's no redemption arc possible for this guy. And now I'm like, they're doing it really well. Like, it's a really fine line they're walking as a kind of a redemption arc for him, but they're pulling it off. It's really interesting.
And I think, like, number one with the bullet is the fact that he's rejecting his redemption, like, on some level. He's like, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's cool. And so when you feel the same way, it's like, yeah, that's true. So I'm glad you recognize it. It means you're on the right path.
It also makes for an interesting convo with Joshua, because Joshua is also, as we're going to see and throughout these conversations, really in a position of still trying to wrestle with his past and what he's done. And, like, it is different in terms of, like, the mind control of it all, but also...
Well, yeah.
But he was also, like, for a long period, the way I understand it, is he was sort of mind controlled into shutting off his emotion. It's not like when he was an Ouroboros enforcer, every time he was sent to assassinate someone, he was like, mind controlled to do this. It was like, I fucked you up and made you feeling emotionless and, like, whatever, and, like, feel like you're a weapon of robot, but it's not like you were being, like, forced to do all those killings. I put you into a frame of mind that would be amenable to that.
Yeah.
But I didn't force you to do all of those, technically speaking. And I think Joshua, and yes, from our perspective, Weissman did force him to do those things. Joshua wasn't in a position to refuse, but in Joshua's mind, he's really grappling with his own feelings of accountability, his own understanding of his own agency, past, present, and future. Like, it's an interesting conversation to have with Alan Richard. Because the similarities and differences between where they're both at right now.
No, and I'm glad he got invited to the party, because I did want to know what was going on with them.
Yes.
Let's keep trading off. Like, who do you want to catch up with next?
In terms of who was actually interesting, there was a line we talked to Sid, and Sid comments that he's not a praying person, he doesn't pray, but he's like, but man, when that Liber arc started collapsing, I was like, I guess I can pray, and I'm like, you know what? That's fucking fair. If I saw that in the sky, yeah.
When a city is falling out of the sky, you do in fact pick a goddess and pray.
Exactly. I want to hear from you, though, because that's like 2 in a row that I've given.
Who else did we have? I did like the chat with Agan and Tita, the fact that she was already smart enough to start weaponizing her tears to force him to come for dinner.
Yes! I love it.
Professor Russell, the elder, is sitting at the table next to them, and he says that they're in the process of sonar imaging the entire lake bed to sort of assess where exactly all the bits of the arc fell, so that with the intent to eventually excavate all of it.
Yeah.
And he does sort of note, like, the sonar imaging is going to take ages, so it's going to be even longer before we get to dredge up any of that stuff. He's like, I wish I'd just, like, taken a sample before we left, but too bad. But it is interesting because they're saying it's going to take a long time, potentially years. In all the future games I've played, I don't think I've ever heard anything about the Liber arc being dredged up. Like, any part of it, or it ever coming into sort of importance.
No, it's not like a plot point that comes out again, that I remember. I mean, the cube was drugged up. That's what we've seen of it. That's what it's setting up, but I don't think we've seen more than that.
Yeah, it's just like, I kind of expected at some point, if they're dredging this up, like, eventually we'd get some little update about, oh, like, Liberl took a leap forward in technology thanks to stuff recovered from the Ark or something like that.
Yeah.
It feels like a dangling plot hook that we've never picked up again, which is a shame. I would be curious.
It would be interesting. Next conversation that I want to shout out is Kevin, because that one's really interesting.
Yes. I honestly walked past him a few times before I sort of clocked that he was there, so he was one of the last ones I spoke to.
Because you're used to him being you.
I think that was it. Yeah, it's just like, that's just me.
Joshua was like, I'm surprised you're still in the borough. I'm getting, the impressions he's going to be leaving soon. And Joshua was like, basically, I need to thank you for what you did. If you hadn't come to the borough when you did, he can't even finish the sentence. What he's talking about is whatever he did with Joshua's fake stigma, whatever it is, last game, that was able to break Weissman's mind control.
Yeah.
Kevin's like, don't sweat it. I didn't do anything special, which is not true, obviously.
It was just a means to an end. They kind of have here is where they have that very honest conversation, yeah? Joshua
goes, I'm not sure if I should ask this, but are you, and doesn't end it. And Kevin's just closes his eyes, goes, ... Joshua. I'm not going to be a liberal for a while. Hopefully we'll see each other again someday. Now I'm going to talk about steak.
It's a full, like, performative Kevin on display. Like, he's hiding all his heretic hunter stuff.
Yeah.
It does seem like whatever Joshua was about to ask was sort of directly referencing, like, his position in the church. Or maybe even what happened to Weissman.
Or his stigma, which we don't know about yet.
Or his stigma, yeah. And from one CSI to another, they're like, nah.
Yeah, well, Kevin's almost, it's like he's saying, if we meet again, the next time we meet, ask me again. I'm not going to answer that right now.
I wonder if that will pay off.
I wonder if it will. We also saw Cassius.
Yes, I love that he's standing in the spot from the end of FC.
Yeah!
I truly thought we were about to have, like, a very serious kind of scary conversation with Dad. Like, he was going to be like, you messed with my daughter, and this is where it happened, this is where it started, and so let's have a serious conversation. But thankfully, it's not.
This is just where this family goes to brood.
Yeah, he just kind of talks about how the army's been distributed to help with rebuilding everything and righting the country, basically. Or I suppose recovering from the coup, lefting the country. Haha.
Yeah. He also says, basically he's like, we have to stop reorganizing the army because the country's in so much disarray that we can't dismantle and rebuild the army differently. But he also makes a really interesting note. He says, with Erebonia and Calvard's internal political situations a mystery to us, the reorganization of the army had to be shelved for now. Fascinating that the implication of this is that they were not a mystery, at least as far as they knew, like a month or two ago. But now, after the Liberal arc, both of them, like, whatever, agents they have, whether you call them spies or diplomats or whoever they have that, like, keeps them appraised, because every country has people who keep them appraised of what's going on in other governments, they're no longer getting the information. Both countries, not just Erebonia.
But it's interesting that he says this because he's talking about the situation in those countries being unknown. Meanwhile, if you go over and catch up with Jin, the thing he says is, like, he's been helping out and he gets thanked for that. He's like, thanks for helping with the rebuilding efforts. He's probably been single-handedly lifting buildings into place or something.
Yeah.
But he does mention that he has to head back to Calvard soon because the situation is, there's like an unrest situation in play in Calvert. Like, everything's kind of in flux and it's not good. So he needs to go back home to kind of help get things in control to some extent. So there is a hint that even if Dad Bright doesn't know it, he could walk across the courtyard and find out that, hey, yeah, shit's fucked in Calvard.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think that shit's fucked is part of the mystery because they say Parliament is in Ambassador Cochrane, who's at Jin's table.
Yes.
And is the ambassador to Calvard, basically says, if that incident happened in Calvard, it would not be resolved as smoothly or as quickly.
Yes.
Right now, like, even a month later, Parliament's still in a fucking tizzy. There's mass confusion. Like, nobody knows what's going on. Nothing's settling down. The impression is, I mean, it could be that what he means by it's a mystery what's happening in Calvard's government is that it's a mystery to the people in Calvard, too, because they have no idea what they're doing. They're just chickens running around with their head cut off.
Yeah, they've very much been characterized as, like, Calvard is democratic and it means nothing ever gets done.
Yeah, and there's a lot of factions with different goals. Which, I mean, Erebonia also has factions with different goals, but it also has a structure where somebody has absolute power. So factions who don't have absolute power have to, like, operate around that. Whereas in Calvard, you do need to put it to a vote.
Yeah.
They present Calvard as a much friendlier seeming place than Erebonia. It's not like they're anti-democracy.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But they are like, yeah, the pitfalls of democracy, especially it's a 100-year-old democracy or almost a 100-year-old democracy. It's still fairly new in the big picture of democracies, and it's as far as we know, the first democracy, at least on a national scale, in this world. So it's like 100 years into the experiment. I don't want to call it the American experiment. I don't want to give America credit right now, but the democratic experiment,
the Calvadian experiment. Yeah,
100 years into the American experiment, they had a civil war. So like Calibur's doing pretty well.
They're on track, I guess.
They're doing better than that.
Moving along from political unrest in Calvad, as well as all the maids serving throughout the banquet, we have the core squad of head maids for the castle off to the side. And if you talk to Shay, the greenish-haired maid...
The plastics.
She's like, oh, hi, Joshua, has like a heart over her head. I mean, it was like, oh, she's crushing. And then she's like, you're welcome at the castle anytime. I'm happy to help you, especially if it's getting you into a maid outfit again.
Yes.
Like, I think you look so cute as a maid and I'd love to do that again. And he just deadpan says, I am never wearing a maid outfit again, just so you know. And she's like, aw, never say never.
Never say never. Yeah, it's like the plastics of maids are sitting together. We also got, I was going to say, Kurt has like a really interesting little exchange with Joshua, where Joshua's basically like, about my bracer badge, I don't think I deserve it because the power I have came from Weissman doing experiments on me.
Yeah.
First, it's not my own power, as it was like artificial, and I've used it for bad things before. Like, I think it's a mix of I did bad things, I should be a bracer, and like this power, I didn't earn it, so I shouldn't get credit for it.
I only qualified to be a bracer using the strength that I had from a bad source.
And Kurt gives a really interesting little statement. He goes, I've always seen power as an imperfect concept, and that's why I believe people are able to use it. Because it's like this flawed, imperfect concept that it's not an objective thing at all. It's
power itself isn't evil, the people use it are, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, like, it is that, but it's also, like, power is inherently an imperfect concept because the idea of it is so subjective. And I think that's a really interesting way of talking about power in a series that is all about the collective and the idea that, like, value is not tied to power and everyone's equally valuable. But, like, I think there's an interesting idea. Like, I think there's something interesting that they're not fully developing here, but I think that's an interesting idea.
It also made me curious because in this moment, it kind of seems like he's comparing himself to Joshua in that they both have power that comes from an unusual source. For Joshua, it's all his society stuff. For Kurt, he uses a type of magic that no one else uses, using incantations. Like, is he from the East? Is it meant to be similar to the guy from Elsheim?
Yeah, he's from the East. Yeah, his ancestors are from the East, and he has some weird mystical arts that aren't arts.
Because he could use his magic when the Orbital shutdown was in effect, because his doesn't come from an Orbital pocket watch.
Yeah.
So interesting that he's like, yeah, like, we both have an unusual power that's not really quantifiable by standard means.
Yep.
We've both become successful. And at the same time, Kurt had his whole, like, being brainwashed and forced to, like, help initiate the coup thing. So he's got the same situation, basically. He's been used by the society to achieve their goals, contrary to his own wants and needs. So he's like, yeah, we are kind of kindred spirits in a way. So yeah, I would love to learn more about Kurt's situation, because it does seem like they're dropping hints that there's kind of more to say there.
Yeah, it is interesting. It is. I wonder if we'll get any follow-up on that at any point. I also just noticed that one of the chefs who we meet there is Sanders,
yes.
who worked at Snacktown Gate, and is the guy who was like, I dreamed of working in a big restaurant.
Yeah, I was so excited to see him, because I talked to him and he's like, Sanders. I saw the name and I was immediately like, I know that name.
Yeah. Which
is a shocking thing to feel about this series when I first started and I was like, there's too many people, I don't fucking care. But yeah, he's like, I'm so excited I get to work here. This is like, he basically says like, this is the biggest cooking stage I'm ever going to be on, so I've got to make the most of it.
Yeah.
If Sander is not hired and employed in the castle by the end of this game, I'm going to be so mad, because he deserves it.
I know. Oh, I also wanted to shout out Ambassador Krana and Duke Junin.
Yeah, like, Dunan's been a hype man.
Junin is like, oh my god, it's Joshua! It's this man man of the hour I've been speaking about. And the ambassador from Erebronia is like in tears, or on the verge of it, over
yeah.
The story of Joshua's bravery and courage and resilience and nobility, which relatable.
Yeah.
I too teared up in the whereabouts of Bonds last game. And Duke Junin has just been telling him about how Joshua bravely went there, knowing it might be the last thing he did, that he almost brought about his death and Josh was like, what has the Duke been telling him? And it's like, it's kind of fun that the Duke, part of his character redemption arc thing that they've got going on is instead of bragging about himself, he's now bragging about Joshua.
Yeah. He's delivering this like epic tale of love and redemption. I love that after the conversation, if you talk to him again, he just has like a line where it's like, and in spite of it all, they were able to find each other again. So he's clearly really into like the Estelle Joshua.
I also wonder who told him. I can't imagine Joshua and Estelle updated him on their romance.
You know, maybe that was the next few pages of that newspaper where they specifically gave their entire backstory.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I love that. Like the ambassador who was like this hard ass awful dude when we first met him, and he's just like, I watched your rom-com and it made me so emotional.
I was a little surprised because I was expecting it to go and like Joshua was born in Ereboni, and he's like, I'm so proud of a born Erebonian doing this. Like, I kind of thought for a second that it was going there, but there's no mention of Joshua originating from Erebonia. It's just like, no, this wonderful tale of, like, this epic tale of nobility and sacrifice.
Yeah, and specifically, Cranach says towards the end of the conversation, he's like, Le Burle needs more brave young men like you.
It's like, you're a national treasure.
Yeah, and no reference to him being Erebonian, which was interesting. Because, yeah, Joshua was kind of taken aback, so I wonder if, like, part of the implication there is, okay, I guess I've got like the rubber stamp of approval from my birth country. Oh, also, I love that Butler Philip is off to the side. If you chat to him, he's like, hey, yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for checking in. The Duke is like being a lot chiller these days. It's fantastic.
He grew up.
I'm just a little disappointed that I couldn't help out more during the whole event if I'd only been 30 years younger. And in the shadiest thought he has ever had, Joshua goes, 30 years younger Butler Philip. Sorry, I can't picture it. Like, burn.
I love his thoughts. He doesn't say a lot of his thoughts, but it's nice to see them. The Sky Bandits have a nice mention that one of the nice things about starting a company is that they get to employ all of the bandits who worked for them as bandits, which I think is a nice touch. That they're like, yes, we're all rising up together. We're not leaving them in the dust.
Yeah, I like that.
But then we get the Josette Estelle fight close up.
Yeah.
Which they think they're arguing about who is the most fit to be at this party. Josette's like, well, I used to be a noble. I went to fancy parties, so obviously I'm the most fit. Estelle immediately is like, well, I am not a tomboy. She's like, I'm not a dyke and you are. Or whatever. Joshua's like, could you please not do this in public? This is like a really public, really high class, really like this is the queen's personal party. Can we please not do it? And they just both in sync go, shut up, Joshua!
Yeah.
Sorry. Because he's a little shady bitch sometimes. And then Josette challenges Estelle to a duel.
It's funny because I kind of figured that talking to these two would be the trigger point that starts whatever's next in this door. So to have him walk up and be like, hey guys, can we like chill? And they're just like, shut the fuck up. And he's like, all right, I'm good. I'm going to walk away.
Annalise is imagining them both in pretty dresses and like planning how to like cutify them both, which is just very Annalise.
Yeah, like her, Grant, and Kana are all kind of standing nearby, monitoring the situation, I guess. And they're just like, it's kind of crazy that they're this mad at each other. But off to one side, who I also found that we haven't talked about yet was Olivier and Shara.
Yes.
Who are off in a quiet corner together, sharing a drink.
Mm-hmm. Or several in Shara's case.
And they both try and encourage Joshua to drink as well. They're like, hey, come have a drink with us. And as always, he's like, I am a child. I do like that Olivier's, you ask him, he's like, are you really safe to be drinking with Shara? And he's like, I'm okay, I'm keeping it under control. And then he's like, there is a difference between drunk on Shara's presence and being drunk in Shara's presence.
Yeah.
That's cute. But yeah, they didn't really have much to say. I just like that they're off having a date to the side while everyone else is partying and interacting.
We do get a note that maybe we'll get follow up on that Shara's like looks a little concerned for a second. Is like, feels like no amount of alcohol is enough to get me drunk, lady. I don't know what's up with me. And she looks really concerned. She laughs it off after, but this one shot, she's like, and I'm like, I mean, the way alcohol doesn't work based on your mood, but I feel like with Shara, that's the implication that she's like having an internal struggle. There's also the mention of Luciola, where Joshua like tries to bring Lucy up.
Yeah.
And Shara's like, don't be silly. Why would you be worried about her? And Olivia tries to pivot and be like, this is a night for celebration. We're not trying to worry about the hard stuff right now. But Shara says it in very much the same way she was saying in SC after Lucy's big jump, where she's like, Lucy's definitely not dead, but sounds delulu about it. Like, it's not, and it's possible she's not. Society people have tricksy things. But it was clear that Cheryl was not saying that because she was like, yeah, I rationally think she's not dead. It was like denial.
Yeah.
And she still seems to be in denial about the possibility.
Just a little bit.
She's like, no way, she's my big sister, she's immortal.
Oh, poor Shara. There are not a lot of people left at this point. Who do we have? If you talk to Morgan, he's just like generally kind of nice to Joshua, and Josh thinks to himself like, what the fuck changed there? Did something happen that he's now chill? You can try and talk to Chloe, but she's busy getting interviewed by Niall at the moment, who's like coaching her on how to respond. He's like, hey, I just want something like chill and carefree. I don't want boilerplate prepared speech from the castle. Your nice personality.
I don't want you to seem PR trained here.
Yeah, no PR training.
We have a little combo with Julia and Vander, who are really discovering that there wasn't that much damage, and we got really lucky. And we also see all the mayors and Dean Collins, who again counts as a mayor, even though there is a mayor of Rouen already, who's the one mayor who doesn't have a portrait because it's Norman. But it's very funny. But they're all just talking about, like, what's going on in their cities, and it's really just, like, there's a cute bit where Mayor Klaus, Josh was like, Mayor Klaus, I just want you to know that, like, the food you had delivered from Roland's farms to other cities, like, saved lives.
Oh, nice. I don't think I actually talked to the mayors. I must have missed them.
Oh, Klaus is like, I don't know why I'm here. I did nothing during the crisis. Like, I really did nothing. And Josh was like, that's not true. You ordered food to be delivered, like, by foot to other regions. Those regions had no food. Grand Salle in particular. Grand Salle was starving. They had no food coming in for, like, days.
It's the capital. They don't have farmlands or anything. They just bring in stuff from other regions, yeah.
And he's like, I was there. I saw the impact it had. You made, and I've seen it since because I've been traveling around. I want you to know that, like,
that's really
you
nice.
Saved lives. And Klaus is like, wow, thank you for telling me that. I had no idea.
How sweet.
The ongoing theme in Trails, you don't know how the little kindnesses that you do are going to impact other people down the road, so I like that.
Other than that, I think, there's the Queen, who you can kind of briefly talk to. She's just like, very thankful. I didn't take down notes because she was just like saying nice things, really.
She says a few interesting things. She basically kind of says the thesis of the series again, which is that, like, us getting through this crisis isn't my doing, it's not anyone here is responsible for it. It's the collective will of the people of the borough. Like, the will to live is what she calls it. Our nation's will to survive, not just individually, but collectively, and help each other live is how we got through the crisis.
Yeah.
Me being queen isn't why we're strong. The people here being heroic is great, but that's not why the nation's strong. It's because collectively people take care of each other. And Joshua, you've chosen Liberal as your second home now. It's not your birth home, but it's your home now, and that means you're part of that fabric that makes this place strong.
He seems to really affect him. He's like, wow, yeah, that means even more than you could know, Your Highness.
Yeah.
Doing well to just have, like, an in with the royalty.
Right?
You're probably pretty good.
Dorothy is still hungry. I think that's the other thing noticed. Dorothy is at the table. She's not off taking photos. But hilariously, Nia clearly was like, just stay at the table and take photos. She's not taking photos, but she's staying at the table. So she's starving. There's food 5 feet away from her. She's not leaving the table to go eat. She's like, I'm too hungry.
But she is drinking.
Yes.
She's like, well, I can't have food, so I'll just have a liquid diet. And it's just like smashing champagne on an empty stomach, which, as we all know, is a great choice.
I mean, there's calories in it. That's totally a form of nutrition.
But yeah, I think by this point I must have talked to everyone essential, even though I missed, like, the mayors and stuff. Because when I went up to the upper level of the balcony where the speeches were, you get sort of like a cutscene.
Yes. Dorothy still doesn't feel good. Dorothy just walks by me, I don't feel good, because she's been drinking on an empty stomach.
And I was like, no, we're going to go interview the military people now. Hurry up. But then Chloe approaches, having been freed from her interview, and has a little chat with Joshua. Chloe says that she's adjusting to doing, like, princess life and interviews and stuff.
She's like, press campaigns are tough.
Josh says that she's cool and great.
Yep.
And then she's like, hey, can I borrow you for a second? I want to have a conversation. Can we go talk? And Joshua's like, okay. Very sad that the first thing he jumps to as she walks away is like, is she mad at me? Did I do something wrong?
It is sad. However, right before that, very funny, he looks back to Chuck and Estelle before going off. He's like, let me just make sure Estelle's okay.
Yes.
Estelle and Gisette are just slamming all the food at the table down. They're not bringing it back to their tables. They're, like, at the buffet table, just, like, chomping down on, like, full chickens. Yeah. And Josh was like, yeah, she seems to be pretty occupied. I think I can leave her be.
Yeah, they were talking about having a duel, and apparently it was an eating competition. So that's how you prove you're the most ladylike person at the party.
It's both sad and also kind of cute. And, like, Joshua is so not naive in so many ways. But in this one way, it doesn't occur to him that a girl being like, can we talk privately? I have something I want to tell you. And there is a naivety to the fact that it doesn't occur to him that this might be, like, a feelings thing.
Yeah.
Like, it is sad that that's his first thought, that she's angry at him, but it's also cute that he, like, it really does not cross his mind.
So clueless, yeah. She takes us over to the exact opposite location to where the first chapter ending happened.
Yes.
So it's just a mirror image of that, and I was like, oh no, this doesn't feel like it's going to be a good moment. Why are we...
She's like, let me tell you a fairy tale, Joshua.
Yeah, because you walk up and she's standing there facing away off the balcony in the same way that he was when you approached as Estelle in first chapter. It was like, Jesus Christ, why are you giving me this symmetry?
How the turns table.
He kind of pre-apologizes. He's like, hey, like, if I've done something wrong, if I've offended you in some way, I'm really sorry. And she's like, no, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you, Joshua.
And he's just, what? In, like, bigger... He, like, dot for a minute, and then what? In, like, bigger font. And then apologizes for saying that. And he's like, I'm happy you feel that way. Like, he blushes a bit. He's, like, flattered.
Yeah, he goes to go into damage control. Like, it's like, that's really nice, but... And she's like, no, I get it. I understand.
She makes it very clear. She's like, I'm not telling you this because I'm wanting a reciprocation. I'm telling you this because I know I need to tell you in order to move on myself.
Yes.
And then she just turns around and goes, the sky sure is beautiful tonight. Joshua kind of is pushing for details. He's like, how long have you felt that way? It's like, dude.
Yeah, a while. And she does kind of pose the questions like, hey, if you'd met me before you met Estelle, do you think things would have turned out differently between us? And good job, Joshua. He thinks about it for a second. He's like, no, I'm sorry, but no, it wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Whether that's him saying, like, we are not meant to be, or if you'd met me before Estelle, I would have been an assassin and that would not have worked out great for you. Either way, he's like, no, I'm sorry, that your feelings are very appreciated. It's lovely, but it wasn't going to happen.
And Chloe takes this in stride. Like, she does not go, like... I also love that her name has changed to Chloe for this scene. I think it was Princess Claudia earlier, and now it's Chloe, which is nice. She's like, I told you, I'm serious, don't worry. Like, I'm not taking offense to that. Like, I was asking you a real question. I can't deny there's a part of me that wants to keep you all to myself, but even if that were possible, that's not what I would really want. When it comes down to it, I really love both you and Estelle.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Come on, guys. I've been telling you this.
And it's the same blushy face she always has when she talks about her feelings with Joshua. And it's just... Oh.
And that she and Estelle have when they're like, you're my best friend, let's hold hands and look into each other's eyes. Like, she's bisexual and she loves them both. Yeah. And I'm aware that the interpretation ever, like, people will say is, well, she loves Estelle as a friend. No, she's in love with Estelle. She's in love with them both. And that's valid.
Yeah. The royal throuple would have been perfect.
It would have been.
But to Chloe's credit, like, yeah, she takes it all in stride. She's like, yeah, look, again, it's just kind of about, like, expressing the feelings so that you can move on.
She also was like, I also told you in that way because I wanted to see the face you would make.
She's like, yeah, your, like, terrified face is really cute, and I just wanted to see it one time. And so thank you for that.
He even calls her out on it. He's like, you're a bit of a bully.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, but it is fun.
I really like how lighthearted this scene is as an unrequited confession of love. Like, she's also teasing him. She's also like, you're very silly. You make funny faces and I like to laugh at them. At the same time as I confessed to you, I wanted to laugh at you.
I love it because, like, you know, normally we'd have, like, the teary-eyed female character who's so lost in their emotions they have no sense of sense. But in this case, like, she's already done a lot of the emotional work to kind of move through this. And this is just kind of, like, putting a button on it for her, but also letting him in on it. Because it's like, yeah, unrequited love can, like, rot inside you. It can make you crazy.
Yeah. I also think there's something very generous about this, given Joshua and his own feelings about himself. I think there's something very generous about, by the way, you're lovable. I fell in love with you. Yeah. It's not just Estelle who has been codependent with you since you were 11 years of age, and you have this long history and whatever with, and are like, whatever.
It's not just Stockholm Syndrome that can make someone love you, yeah.
Yeah. People can fall in love with you, knowing exactly who you are, and it's not just a fluke what happened to one person. And I think even though she's saying it for her own sake, I do think there's a generosity in saying that to Joshua. Right after she, got to see, like, him going through his scarier moments.
Yeah. Olivier's here as well. And one of the lines in their conversation is that, like, he wants to get Josh to drink with them because it's like, I want to see those amber eyes swimming by the end of the night. It's like, damn, dude. At this point, Chloe kind of turns the conversation around him at this point. She's like, hey, like, I know you well enough that I can kind of suss out that you're hiding something at the moment too. So do you want to tell me what it is? While we're being open and honest with each other. And he kind of shares, like, I'm planning to leave Le Bourle within a month. solo. I'm planning to run away and tour the entire continent, basically going on a reformation tour. He wants to like make up for all the things he's done as part of the society and kind of like repair the damage he's caused to the world. Chloe's like, so does that mean you're going to leave Estelle behind to do this? And he's like, yeah, I don't know how long it's going to be for. It could be a really long time, but I've got to do this. And Chloe, in the most princessly way possible, says, bitch, just tell her.
Yeah. I do want to touch on what Joshua says. The way he always talks about himself is like a broken doll, whatever. He says, I finally achieved the thing everything wanted from me, meaning like thinking of myself as a human being properly. And he goes like, the good and bad thing of this is that like I feel human and that's great, but I also feel guilty and I feel attached to my crimes, to my deeds, and like accountable for them in a way that I've never had before, and I'm dealing with like my own sense of agency in the past. It's an interesting take on the way his whole like I'm a broken doll thing from last game is to come to his point of being like, because remember he was like, I can't cry, so I'm broken, I can't, this like he felt really detached from his emotions, from his experiences, from his trauma, and part of as he's like processing his trauma is it now feels present to him in a way that it didn't before, and that means his guilt and his feelings of shame feel present to him in a way they didn't always before. And I think that's an interesting character beat.
Yeah, it's definitely a pivot for him. Still hanging on to some of it, like the self-hatred, but he's learning to let go of it, which is really important.
What I want to do, the reason I want to atone is so I can start embracing the person I am now. He's like, I want to love myself. I'm not there yet. I want to learn how. And I think I have to face who I used to be properly to do that.
Yeah.
Now, arguably, he kind of did that already at the end of SC, but I get that he feels like there's more to it. That's fair. I do like the idea that he's on a journey to be able to love himself. That he's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
This is a terrible plan to leave Estelle behind and go do shit by himself. The worst possible plan.
Falling back on bad behaviors, 100%, yeah.
Yes, but the idea that his outlook goal right now is I want to figure out a path towards self-love.
It's at this point that Chloe spots Estelle on her approach, and she's like, well, basically here's your chance.
Yeah.
Hey Estelle, you can have Joshua back. Because Estelle walks up, she's like, oh, there's Joshua. Oh, he's with Chloe. And immediately has a terrified look on her face. She's like, oh god, the princess is talking to my boyfriend.
This is fine. Hey, they're there. Great. And she runs up and Chloe leaves. She's like, wait a second. You were just standing here with Chloe. Like, it takes her a second to process that this is something she maybe needs to worry about.
What were you guys talking about? He's like, oh, she was giving me some advice on something. He's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then she's like, no, wait, it doesn't. Tell me.
Yeah, I remember why she wasn't clocking it at first. Because she got Gisette's goggles as a trophy.
Oh, yeah.
And she's too excited about it. God, she's the best character ever.
Yes, it's like, hey, just make sure you give those back before the end of the night. And she's like, no promises. I would have loved to see if the only change to Estelle's character art when she arrives in the game is that she now has a set of goggles around her neck. So he goes to start sharing his news with her, and right as he's about to say it, we get fireworks going off in the sky to interrupt them, so they just start watching those together. Beautifully rendered fireworks. Like, some really impressive, like, particle-ish effects for a game this old.
No, it is good.
Really enjoyed it. They had so many different kinds.
Yeah, they had one that looks like Saturn. They had, like, the big, like, spray.
The ones that just pop, the ones that, like, have dazzlers that fall down. Like, all the fireworks you know and love.
You see Estelle and ends, which implies, I think, that he starts to tell her after the fireworks display.
Yeah, because other people have said that Estelle and Joshua are abroad at the moment. So
yes,
I would say even if we don't get in another door, that the implication is that he had this conversation and tried to tell her, hey, I'm leaving on my own for potentially years to fix everything I ever broke.
And she's like, no, you're not.
Shut up, I'm coming with you. And he said, oh, that's an option? Okay.
It didn't occur to him, I don't think, at all, that she could just come with him.
But in any case, that brings us to the end of Star Door 3, a third Star Door.
I really liked it.
I quite enjoyed this one. What would you rate it out of 5 stars?
What did I rate Julia's? Because this is higher than Julia's.
Oh, I can tell you, because the thing that I've been doing is I've been building a spreadsheet of all of our door scores so that I can get a top 5 and aggregate scores.
Did you compile ours or do our individual ones?
I have our individual scores and an average score between the two of us.
Oh, you're using the formulas. I like that.
So many formulas.
I would say this is a 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave 5 for higher, but I think this kind of had everything I got to see, like, every character I wanted to talk to, or almost, which is great. I got to walk around a party and talk to everyone. Like, that's one of my favorite things to do in Trails. I got an update on a lot of people's lives, which is great. I got a really nice conversation with Joshua and Chloe.
Yeah.
Some really nice internal stuff with Joshua. Some good laughs. And it didn't overstay its welcome either. It was like a great, well-paced, good length, great time. Maybe it should be a 5 because I got to see Estelle again, and that's the most important thing ever. But I'm going to say 4.5. I'm going to save the 5. I think for like a narrative one, I'm going to save the 5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 4.5 as well, because this was really great. It's that end of RPG fun of getting to check in with everyone. Doesn't overstay its welcome. But we've only done like 5 or so doors out of the 25 total that are in the game across all the different kinds.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I'll save that 5 to see where we go. That's a 4.5 score for Star Door number 3, The Banquet.
And then we can go and do the plot, which is going to be a lot shorter than the Star Drawer probably in terms of like actual stuff we have to cover.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, so finally, let's start the actual content for the game.
We go to the end point of last chapter, where the Oriole ceiling thing was, and that's where the portal is, conveniently.
Yes.
Joshua, who I have in my party, points out that nobody knows what happened to the Oriole. People think that, it fell into the lake with the Liber Arc, but nobody knows that. And Josh was like, I mean, it's possible, but something unexpected seems to have happened. And Weissman seemed really shaken about what was going on with the Oriole, so that's weird.
At this point, I had Mueller and Tita in my party. So Mueller mentions the thing about, like, we don't really know what's going on with the Oriole outside of the people who need to know, and that Weissman is still at large. No one knows what happened to him.
That's what Claudia is saying. I have no idea where he is now or what he's doing.
Could he be involved?
Reese is like, but the report said quite clearly, and Kevin jumps in and says, no one in the church knows where he is either. We're still looking into it. But I don't think this is him, because he would be here doing his, Ganondorf von Weissman thing. He'd be playing the organ and laughing at us, so I don't think he's involved.
Yeah, they kind of say, essentially, like, Weissman is too vain to show up here in a mask.
Yeah.
If he was involved, he would let us know, because that's just who he is.
Because I have Joshua, and Joshua just cuts in and goes, that's true.
Yeah.
Which is great, because Joshua would know better than anyone.
Even in my party, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. So everyone just accepts this explanation. Interesting. Misinformation from the church.
Mm-hmm. And from Kevin specifically, Reese is clearly weirded out by the fact that Kevin's, Reese thinks that everyone knows this. At least assumes that Kevin would have disclosed this to his comrades. Reese knows Kevin killed him. Reese wrote the report on the fucking weapon. But, nope, Kevin's not sharing this information. And Reese seems unnerved, but does not jump in to be like, well, actually.
Yeah, she's a little unsettled, but we move forward through the teleporter anyway to find ourselves in the next plane, the third plane, where it turns out Tita was psychic because there's 2 paths.
Oh my god.
We woke up and see a split path. One might say a golden road and a silver road.
Where have we heard that before?
We woke up and Cube starts to glow, as Cube is wont to do.
Kevin's just like, well, this is foreboding, which I love when he says shit like that.
Is there something, like, with less swears to the effect of, oh, this shit again? It's like, it's glowing again? But this time, the ghost lady shows up. We finally get a concrete link that the girl voice from the Cube is the girl who is a ghost.
And she also asks, can you hear me? Like, she says some other shit, and then she's like, can you hear me? And we're like, yeah, we can, actually.
Yeah, good reception.
And she's like, oh, that's great. She wasn't sure before if you could hear me at all. Like, it implies that all the other times it's spoken, like, she wasn't sure she was getting through. She wasn't sure she had good enough reception between heaven and my bedroom, like.
But it's a good thing we do have strong reception, because she's about to clue us into the mechanic for this plane.
Yes.
Which is that there are 2 roads and we have to do both of them simultaneously.
Yes.
Specifically, we need to move forward with the power of the Grail in order to succeed, which tells us that we need a religious on both teams.
I like this too, because this is, we've seen this in FC where the party gets split, but not that they have to do, like, a dungeon apart simultaneously. We will see this in later games a few times. Different variants of, like, you have to split up the party and do a dungeon simultaneously of 2 different paths, which I do, and it's fun seeing, like, the origin point of this as a mechanical thing.
Like, it's a bit more simplistic here, because you basically you get to pick which run you do first.
Yeah.
Either the gold road with Kevin or the silver road with Reese. But you basically pick one, do the entire thing, and then just do the other one immediately after, where later, I guess more advanced versions of this, they will have you sort of switching back and forth between the party. You know, that kind of classic, like, split party thing where you've got to pull the lever on one side to make the door open on the other.
Yeah.
Back and forth, exchange your way through it, which I love. I was just doing that in East End Proud Nordics the other day, actually.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. Oh, she also warns us that once we go through the doors, we can't go back. We have to finish dungeon crawling.
An interesting twist. Because, yeah, they don't say it outright, but both parks, you don't have, like, a healing station or anything. So once you're through the door, you have no support. You can't, make new quartz, recover at a stone monument or whatever. You've just got to power through. Luckily, both paths are pretty short. They sort of say, well, like, this seems like a bad idea to split our party. And in my party, Tita says, why don't we go back and get the rest of them so we have 2 full parties?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh my god, genius child.
She is. Tina's not in my party, but I'm going to credit her for that because I don't have a screenshot of who says it. I'm definitely Chloe or Joshua.
They tell you have to go back and check in with everyone. You don't actually. You can just, like, initiate at the stone monument and say, here's my party split. So do you remember how you split up your party?
I also just looked up a suggestion for how to do it. So I had Kevin with Mueller, Josette, and Tita, and Reese with Claudia, Julia, and Joshua.
Yeah, I did the same split. Based on recommendations, like, I did have to go around and do a bunch of grinding to get a couple more quartz. Specifically, this time I was lacking wind sepith.
Interesting.
Weirdly enough, the Jade Corridor doesn't give you much wind sepith, despite the fact they're both green.
That is so rude.
So I had to go hang out in Spooky Grand Cell and fight a bunch of ghosts to get everyone kitted out. But yeah, I did kind of like that party split because, like, Reese, Chloe, Julia, and Joshua, that's like a fun mix. Chloe and Julia get to be together. Joshua's there as well.
Joshua's with Chloe too, which is fun. OG party.
Yeah, it's all your heads of church and state, basically.
Yeah.
And then the other party's just kind of a mixed bag. Like, Josette and Tita together is nice. I would love to see some interaction between the sort of reasonably close in age girls.
Tita and Kevin have hung out for a while now, so, like, that's cool. But it's just utility, really, having them all together. There's not, like, a compelling reason to put them together.
But once the party's split, the gates open for us and we can head in. You can see them, both squads run in and then pick which one you go with first. I went with the Golden Road.
Me too.
Because it's called Golden Road, Silver Road.
Yep.
And also, looking at it, like, silver's on the left, gold is on the right, which means if you're reading it as a Japanese person, you'd move right to left.
I think it was first in the menu.
And it's first in the menu, yeah.
We go in, have immediate fight, which Major Vander for me comments that the things they fight resemble, like, gremlins in folklore that do mischief, which is interesting. We've had, like, devils, we have fiends, now we have these.
Yeah, which led me to think, like, if we're, like, pulling stuff from reality the way we did, like, Grand Cell and the Arcean stuff, are we doing, like, a collective unconscious thing? Because it's made up of all, like, the historic folklore and, like, folk tales out there in the world.
The metaverse.
I will say, I hate that in this entire section, the camera angle is locked and the map is at a different angle. It made me so mad. I'm lucky this is a very linear path because this would get me lost 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically a straight shot with, like, anytime there's, like, a break in the path, one of them's going to be the way forwards and the one that goes sideways is going to have a treasure chest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of treasure chests.
And I have the detection quartz by now, so I can also just see where they were. And thankfully we have mini-maps, so that was nice.
Oh, a couple of them are variant chests, depending on who you have in your party. Like, you'll get a weapon for one of your party members specifically.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's going to be a more common thing, but it does mean that I'm probably going to refrain on upgrading my weapons before a new plane moving forwards, just in case they hand me the same weapon or an even better one.
No, it's possible that they adjust it based on who's lagging behind on weapons. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Because I definitely got a new set of swords for Joshua, even though I just bought him a new set. So...
Okay, yeah, okay, then it's just,
They were still more powerful, but it wasn't like he was the worst off in the party or whatever.
But not as big of a jump,
So the enemy types, there's not that much of interest. There's some guys that blow up when you fight them, but they do so little damage that I basically... Almost every single one of them blew up in Reese's face.
They do more damage on normal difficulty. They did kill Joshua once from, like, half health.
For me, like, every time one blew up in Reese's face, it always did 0 damage, so she was just, like, tanking them all.
Oh, wow, no, okay. It did, like, half of Joshua's health at one point. I think it depends how close you're standing to it, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, because she, like, her Templar sword means she's generally out of range, but sometimes she'd be too close. And it was just very funny to see her, like, this party just, like, charging through. Because for a lot of it, I was just doing plain attacks just to, like, charge everyone's CP, because...
Yeah, me too.
New party members had 0 or whatever. She was just, like, running up to every one of these bombs, slashing it, having it blow up in her face and going, okay, next one.
I love her. Any chest messages you want to shout out, by the way, while we're doing this?
I did grab a couple. There was another one of the Did You Knows, which I love.
Yes.
It was, did you know Hallie from Gambler Jack's name was originally translated accurately as Haru, but it turns out the official Japanese spelling wasn't that, but Hallie. This was revealed in Gambler Jack's sequel. So Gambler Jack is one of the collectible novels, and Jack and Hallie are the characters in there. So they are known as Jack and Hallie up to the modern day, so they never doubled back on that decision again. So yeah, that was on the Gold Road. On the Silver Road, I did have one that, like, just in all lowercase as one word says, "Give me blood."
That was so good. I also just had, "Congratulations, it's a girl."
Oh yeah, I saw that one. Have we had that one before? Or have we had "It's a boy" before?
I don't think so.
The other one on the Silver Road that I liked, Enforcer number 20, the empty chest.
That was good. Oh, there's one where the lid creaks, like, between asterisks, and then all capitals. 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
Yeah. I have one last one, which I only stood out to me because it's a pun that doesn't work in my accent.
Tell me.
Just like, on Silver Road again, if you were looking for gold, you'll not find one Graham. And that is Graham, as in Kevin's last name. So I read it the first time, it was like, if you were looking for gold, you'll not find one Graham. What?
Right.
And it took me a second to remember.
Yeah, it's Graham in an American accent.
Yeah.
We also had two interesting chests that, not for the message, but because both Kevin and Reese have a chest where we get like a little scene where they react to what they find in it. They both get a weapon that they recognize.
Yes.
And then I read the description, at least for Kevin's, which said it's well-used, jet black bow that's clearly been well-maintained. The implication is that at some point, we don't know how recently, but this was Kevin's bow, and it's been used by him.
It's called the Ion Bow. He does seem freaked out, and he sort of clearly implies that this is a familiar bow.
Yeah.
And then for Reese's one, you get the Sylvan Sword, which is a silver Templar sword that she mentions is somehow familiar, but she can't place it.
Yes.
So there's something going on there.
Maybe it was Rufina's.
See, my thought immediately was that the black bow was something Kevin was using for his heretic hunter jobs, whether that was given to him by Rufina or not, and that the Sylvan sword was Rufina's sword, because doesn't she also use a Templar sword?
Yeah, and that makes sense for Rufina's sword. I don't think that checks for Kevin, but...
Well, we also come across a new door in each of the paths.
Yeah.
Star Door 4 on the Golden Path, which says, "Bring to me the man who talks with his fists."
I love that we have two doors, a sun door and now a star door, that are clearly referring to Jin, that are both just like fists.
Yes, punch.
Like, I think the sun door one is like immovable fists, and this one's like punchy fists.
The one who is immovable, yeah.
They're just like, heat fight.
Bring me punch. And then the one on the silver path says, "Bring to me the darling of pure white radiance and proof of her scholarship." And this was the first one that wasn't immediately obvious, to be honest.
So proof of her scholarship is something you will find in a chest.
Yes. Who's our sweetest, kindest, beautifulest girl? Chloe. And proof of her scholarship. So this seems like the first time where we're going to have a requirement of not just a party member, but a key item.
Yes. I don't think that's a very common thing, but this one specifically, it ties into the story in the Star Door.
We can't open either one yet because I guess Chloe needs to get her graduation certificate or something.
Yeah, basically.
But after passing through all that, we get to the end of each path. So Golden Road, we get there with Kevin's party. And right as they approach the final gate to exit the Golden Road, one of those demon summoning circles shows up.
We do actually have a healing thing right before the boss area, I think.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Maybe I was just too strong and powerful to notice.
Exactly. But yeah, we get a little red glowy circle on the ground, because of course there needs to be a boss.
Yeah, everyone's like, okay, but they're going to summon another fiend. And then it's Reese.
She's fucking mad. She's mad at him Kevin for lying about Weissman.
Apparently.
She's red eyes, that's how mad she is.
Yeah, they show one like ... text box showing that she has the red eyes of someone who'd been brainwashed, like in first chapter.
And hilariously, her sprite still has blue eyes. It is a little funny.
Yeah, they didn't go all the way. But they kind of did, actually. Because she summons in a bunch of mirrors, and this paid off a fear I had right at the start. Because when you're at the branching path leading into the Gold and Silver Road, they have these spinning gold and silver mirrors kind of fading in and out in the background. And they are the spitting image of the worst enemies in the entire Trails series. Which is there are versions of these two mirrors where one reflects all physical attacks and one reflects all magic attacks. And they always show up in fights together.
Yes.
So you're having to like pick and choose who you attack, because if you hit them with a thing that they are immune to, they reflect it back to you, including stuff like S-crafts.
Yep.
So if you absolutely decimate them with S-craft, you might kill half of them and then ruin yourself.
So I will say, they're not the worst enemies in Trails because they are not spiders. After spiders, yes. That's bias, have to say.
And we cannot forget the Photon Judge, of course.
Oh, right, sorry. After Photon Judge and spiders, we get these bitches.
As far as recurring pains in my ass, these are definitely the top ones.
They're better in some games where you have characters whose default attack is magic. And so you have a mix that makes it a little easier that, like, you don't have to cast.
Yeah, because the magic ones are such a risk. Like, luckily these mirror enemies aren't fast, but, you know, you're casting a spell and then they're moving around, so they might move into a position where they are going to cause a reflect.
Yeah.
And God, it sucks. It does make me grateful for the fact that S-crafts in these early games are such a small, effective area.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because you can kind of pick and choose how to use them. But yeah, so you have to eliminate these mirrors. They had about the same amount of health as Reese did. Sorry, Reese ? Did.
But Reese's 3 forms.
Yes, another multi-stage boss.
The last of which is a joke. It has like 100 HP. Like, it is one of those grimoire enemies that you can get in with the Jade Corridor that has like no HP.
The little blobby guys that look a lot like coronavirus.
Yeah.
So you take her down from her first health bar, the 6,000 or so she had for me. Then she transforms into still Reese, but made out of that white and red kind of running texture.
She looks like a bride. Like, because her veil is white and her dress is white, she kind of looks, from behind, she just looks like a bride. It's kind of funny.
Getting rained on by blood. And then, yeah, you take down that version of her and she transforms back into one of the little grimoire blobs before you finally take her out.
And then when you beat her, you get a sealing stone.
You sure do. And then Kevin and co trample off to go through the other side of the Golden Road, circling around to Reese's version on Silver Road. Basically the same enemies. There's not really any variance as far as I can remember.
No.
We find that moon door. She gets the Sylvan sword.
Right, there was one more chest message that I just thought was interesting, as a did you know.
Oh.
Did you know arteria supposedly comes from the English word artery, which is interesting when you think about the septim veins.
Septum veins, and, you know, it's the religious heart of the continent.
Mm-hmm.
So arteria makes sense.
And it makes me wonder, like, do the septum veins center in arteria? Is that, like, the origin point of all of them?
Because that's where the original primal ground is, so it would make sense for some sort of interaction there, yeah.
Yeah, there's something important with the location there, for sure. We just don't know what.
So for her boss fight, she fights a Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
A Kevin that can use Grail Sphere, which is really a pain in the ass.
Yeah, fuck that! Only I get to break the game that way, excuse you!
Yeah, and he uses, like, a really powerful healing spell, like, Heavenly Force or something?
Yeah, I think it's Healing Craft.
Yeah. He was restoring, like, a third of the other sort of fodder enemies' health bars if I let him, so...
This one's a pretty annoying fight.
Yeah, and as far as I remember, he still has Kevin's moveset in, like, the coronavirus form before he kind of fully reverts to a grimoire, so...
I don't remember, because I one-shotted him before he had a move, but in that form...
I started taking him down real quick, because, like, he didn't get a chance to fire off Grail Sphere in my fight, though my guide did warn about it, but he was mashing those, like, healing crafts and kind of making life annoying.
No, he has too much health in normal difficulty to not, and you can't delay him enough. Like, he does it immediately.
He's a quick one, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, in this fight, I did get affected by my favorite status effect, the Morph status effect.
Is that the mini one?
Yes, where you get shrunk down to a teeny tiny Reese. I've got this one screenshot. She's, like, there with the rest of the party. There's one of those, like, boxing gremlin guys where she's been minified. And standing with a giant sword in front of her, it's still not as tall as the little gremlin guy.
Amazing.
Man, I was so desperately hoping that when it cut to the victory screen, she would still be mini. But she's not. And I was like, oh man, I know you're going to heal the effect, but...
I wish. No, that actually happened to me, like, a bunch in these two dungeons. Like, a lot of the monsters have that ability, and I guess on regular difficulty they proc it more often. So I had Mini Mueller, which is really quite funny because he's like he's Vander Mueller. I had Mini Tita, which is also very funny because she's already mini. Like, how can you minify Tita? But you can.
You know, I will also just highlight, as an aside, Reese and Mueller have some of the coolest looking S-crafts in the game at this point.
They do.
Like, Reese's one, she summons a literal warrior angel who, like, blasts her enemies for her.
Just a Valkyrie, like, from mythology.
Mueller detonates a galaxy.
I didn't even know they knew about galaxies in Samaria, but apparently Mueller knows how to destroy them.
Yeah, he's just like, he cuts real big with his sword with different color fires on it, and it, like, slices a galaxy in half and it blows up. And I was like, why are you not always in my party?
Mueller's so cool. All right, after the fight, Reese actually collapses, and they're like, what? And she's like, I'm just so relieved that it wasn't really Kevin.
Yeah. I assume she was collapsing because she was hungry again, to be honest.
I was yeah. Joshua noticed that, like, in parentheses, thinking to himself, like, wow, she must have been really worried about Kevin if she fucking collapsed. He doesn't say it as gently as I made it sound. He's not as bitchy.
Oh, fun fact as well, just about the Reese boss fight. I saw a little did you know outside of the game, which is that in the original Japanese version of Sky the Third, the what are they called? The rushing chariots that are teamed up with Kevin in this fight were bugged. Something about their speed stat was broken.
They always move twice in a row or something.
So they have a move that can like do a huge amount of damage or kill you, and they were able to just like stack it 4 in a row per enemy. So this was made one of the hardest fights in the entire game because of that.
Entire franchise, probably.
You basically had to like S-brake to get ahead of them to knock them out before you could. Thank God they fixed that for the English version, because I don't need that shit.
No, thank you. But then we reunite with everybody.
Yay!
Kevin actually has a sweet line where he goes, he sees Reese, he's like, yeah, that's definitely the real you. He goes, thank Adios. I was worried as hell about you, Which is quite sweet. Like, Kevin's not been as sweet about it. He doesn't show that side of himself.
It's like a break in his blasé attitude, yeah.
We also learned some horrifying cosmology again about what grimoires are, which are apparently what souls become after being thrown into Gehenna. So Gehenna is hell. The souls of sinners go to Gehenna, and they basically eventually turn into a chaotic lump of spirit known as a grimoire. They're just like worn down and like tormented for centuries until that happens to them.
Which is horrifying because the implication is that becoming a grimoire is basically losing all sense of identity and self, which is why their go-to move is to try and replicate life, which is why they recreated Kevin and Reese. So they are from the Old Testaments, so the implication seems to be that perhaps our enemies have thrown open the gates of Gehenna. Ooh.
Everyone is so creeped out, like rightfully. Tina's having nightmares tonight. Father Vixen from Zeiss was not telling Tina this. She did not know this. She's freaked out.
They don't cover this in Sunday school.
I wonder if this is one of the things that is like not advertised by the church. Like this is in their library, but they're like, which is an interesting thing to think about because you think of religion as like we're gonna preach you all the like fire and brimstone stuff because we're keeping you in line or whatever. The idea that the church believes some really scary things about the universe is like, let's not scare everyone by telling them they're all gonna become this if they sin. Let's keep that on the down low and just be like, hell is bad, try to be a good person. Let's just tell people hell's not good, you don't want to go there. Let's not tell them just how bad it is. Really wild.
Yeah, save that one. But yeah, I love that the party is like, does this mean that our enemies have thrown open the gates of Gehenna? And then from off-screen, Schwarzwitter says, haha, yup.
That's a fitting metaphor, he says. Which suggests that it might not be literal Gehenna, but it also kind of is.
He does share a little bit of information with us.
Kevin calls him ugly.
He kind of confirms our theory that the ghost lady is part of this whole situation, that she's involved with the cube, and he refers to her as the Hermit. And wouldn't you know, we've been in a hermit's garden all this time.
Yes, it's her garden. He also kind of suggests that, like, yeah, she's doing her a little bit to help you, but it won't really make a difference. Like, it makes it sound like they're not all on the same page. He and the Lord of Phantasma are a separate party to the Hermit.
Yeah, he calls her a spirit that was left behind in Phantasma, as well as the master of the Hollow Garden. Seems like our girl is the Hermit of the garden. And yeah, she's been slowly rebuilding power. She was like so completely shut down by them that she lost her body, herself, everything. So regaining her voice and now kind of beginning to regain her body is a result of us kind of...
She almost became a grimoire.
Yeah, we've stopped her from becoming a grimoire by kind of following her advice and doing the things he suggested, which is slowly giving back more power to her, because we're kind of clearing these planes of the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm. Schwarzwitter also gives us some cryptic advice-ish, I guess.
Of course he does.
He goes, your next destination is a path of beasts. Devour the new offering presented to you and display your seal once more. Then shall the flames of Gehenna burn ever fiercer and my kingdom draw closer to its true completion. Kevin thinks this is hysterically funny.
Yeah, I love his like, that's bullshit.
He's like, you're just making up cryptic things.
Tell me, what sad classes did you and that joke of a boss you got take to get your certifications in how to be a big bad? Which is a clumsy sentence.
It is unwieldy.
What kind of like shitty improv class did you take to come up with that bullshit?
What evil bad guy class did you take to learn that? And then he's like, man, I bet you were expecting us to stay up tonight figuring this out. No.
Like, he literally calls it some cryptic bullshit. I love when Kevin swears.
Me too. And then he's like, by the way, you're being too theatric in the delivery. It just sounds fake if you're that much of a ham.
We've got better things to do with our time than listen to nonsensical riddles from a guy who can't even bother to show his face, which is the first moment that Schwarzritter kind of stops smiling in this scene as well.
Yeah, he's got a very, like, spooky, like, when he says, like, by the way, get lost, like, we've got better things to do, whatever, like, his face goes to that really serious, I am Heretic Hunter Kevin face.
Yeah, he kind of pulls his bow gun and he's like, hey, stop wasting our time and fuck off, basically. At which point, Schwarzritter says, I see you're fond of my master's gift. Mm-hmm. With the implication being that obviously, if you're like me, you equipped that new bow gun because it was stronger.
Yep.
And that is specifically the one that he is brandishing at the moment, which does kind of give Kevin pause for a moment. He refers to himself as, Schwarzritter is Phantasma's foremost guardian.
Yeah.
Doesn't say only guardian.
I guess, arguably, possibly Ultimas is fighting our guardians of it, in a way.
True.
But he's the foremost.
Which
is interesting. He then disappears in, like, his peak sigil again.
The same ones that warp in our bosses and, wait, I've got it. Coronavirus, because they are copies of us.
That's good. Kelowna.
We come to a wrap. Oh, also worth noting that when Schwarzritter first shows up, Joshua does seem a little taken aback. So he obviously sees the resemblance we see.
Yeah, and he does say, so that's the Schwarzritter you mentioned at the end, which, with, like, his, like, brooding face on, like, I think Joshua notices the Louvet resemblance.
I think so. He disappears, and we are free to continue into the next plane in the next chapter.
It's a very anticlimactic ending. Kevin's basically like, anyway, let's go see who's in the ceiling stones, and then we just get the, like, title card, like, end chapter. It's like, okay.
Yeah, cut to credits. Yeah, interesting. It was, like, a weirdly short chapter, which makes sense because it's paired with, like, it's not a long star door, but it takes a while to play through it because you are wandering around talking to everyone.
It feels really short, but it's actually not. But it feels short because you're not sitting there watching scenes the whole time. You, like, get to move Joshua.
That brings us to the end of Golden Road, Silver Road, and the end of our episode.
That's it. So next chapter. For the first time this game, we're splitting a chapter into two. Oh my god, it's just like the old days. So what we're going to do, we're going to do 3 doors. We're going to do Moon Door 3, Star Door 4, and Star Door 5. Mm-hmm. Star Door 5, to be clear, you won't be able to do until the end of the section we're doing. You were going to play plot until you get new sealing stone, unseal that person, and do that Star Door. And then call it a day.
Yeah.
So when you first hit Star Door 5, you're going to be like, I can't do it. You will by the end of where we're planning. And that's going to be what we do for next episode.
Perfect. So, as you probably know, at the end of every episode, we like to open the TWG Community Chest and pull out a chest message which describes one of our fellow shows on the Worst Garbage Network, so that you can go and check them out because they are also good.
Yeah.
So, this week is In Sequence, a podcast about visual stories, comics, graphic novels, manga.
Anything that could be called a comic. So, comic, graphic novel, manga, I think an instruction manual at one point. This is a fun one right now because the most recent, at the time of recording episode, was actually one I recommended it for the show. However, Jill also knew the material, and I'm not sure if Jill also brought it to, like, independently to the show. There was Persepolis, which is a classic, fantastic graphic novel about a little girl growing up in Iran during the 1979 revolution. It's way funnier than it sounds, but it's also going to rock your shit. You're gonna cry. You're also gonna laugh really, really hard. It's really good. It's a masterpiece. There's a movie of it as well, like an animated movie, beautifully done. And the episode about it was really, really great. It's one of the most banned or most attempted to be banned books in America.
Oh.
They try to ban it constantly.
Wow.
People have called it pornography. There is not a single naked person in the thing. Like, somebody has a towel over them at one point. But no, they really try anything. Anyway, it's really good. But also, what's really good is the show in sequence.
Yes.
Everyone on the show brings a different, like, background with the medium to it. And it's also, they call it a comics podcast for everyone. So it's like, whether you're brand new to the medium or are, like, a huge comics nerd or manga head or whatever, like, there's something for you.
Yeah, nice. Well, that is In Sequence. You can find links to that and all the other shows at theworstgarbage.online, including us. But for this week, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of our podcast, Trails Through Trails.
We had 2 trails to go through this week.
Yes, it was literally trails plural through trails plural this week.
Yeah.
Not every week. So if this is your first episode for some reason, A, in the most polite way, what is wrong with you? And B, don't get used to it.
We're so glad you're here.
And yes, we're glad you're here. If you would like to check in with us about the show, if you've got any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, theories, literally anything, you can hit us up at a bunch of places. You can email us at trailsthroughtrails@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm going to keep saying it because fuck that guy.
I'm not calling it anything but Twitter.
At TrailsPod. You can find our website at trailspod.online with links to everything.
And Instagram at TrailsPod.
And Instagram, that one too.
Which I have now actually learned how to use.
Hey!
I learned how to put a link in an Instagram story this week, you guys. I learned how to do that.
So check us out there. Check out our stories on Instagram, hey.
Yo, they have those.
If you check out westgarbage.online, you can also find a link through to the Discord where you can come and hang out with us directly. There's a channel just for the show, as well as a channel for trails in general, and literally every other interest you could ever have. Find your way through the channels, find what works. Not everyone's in every channel, and it works out great. Next week for the podcast, we will be playing Chapter 4 until we receive a new sealing stone, unlocking that, and then proceeding to do Moon Door 3, Star Door 4, and Star Door 5. So until we return to play through that part of this game, I've been Matt.
And I've been Lex.
And we will see you next week on the trail singular.
But for now,
It's over!
TWG, the worst garbage, online.